Okay, we're recording now.
Yep. So, hi, John. How you doing?
Pretty good. These are the sunglasses I wear every single day. I just walk around every single day wearing these casually, you know.
I hear that's the style now. I see a lot of kids with like, they're like, I'm like, where did you see that style? They're like, that YouTube clip you showed me at when we had study hall. I'm like, yeah, it was just me doing a rap video for a ghost investigation crew that I'm a part of. And they're like, yeah, we know that.
Mhm.
But like they're starting to wear bucket hats. They're starting to wear weird sunglasses like that and stuff. And so I think you're very influential on. You don't know it, but you're
I guess so.
our fashion goes out into the subconscious, or the invisible intelligence, or whatever. So it's picked up.
So I just got this cannonball
Oh
today.
yeah.
This is the brand new cannonball I just picked up. My wife bought me this at
Whoa.
an antique store, and he was in the booth of the guy who sells like bottles from the 1800s.
Hmm.
So this guy knows probably where an 1800s trash dump is, and that's where
Hmm.
these bottle sellers get their stuff from 1800s top secret locations where they're digging up, and they got to really carefully dig it up, otherwise they destroy like a $500 bottle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
If they see a bottle, they pretty much have to get a hose and hose off the area and really delicately pull these bottles out
Wow.
and make sure they're intact. Otherwise, they destroy. Sometimes it's a $5,000 bottle. They don't
No
know,
kidding. Wow.
but this guy clearly uses a metal detector, and he came across this a solid iron ball.
Wow.
He's a bottle expert to an extent. I'm sure he Googles every name that's on every bottle to know what the value is.
Mm.
Like one of his bottles I saw, I was almost going to get it. It said HHH horse medicine. And it was a really cool horse medicine bottle, probably from 1890.
Hmm.
But what he doesn't know is what this is. He didn't know what this is. So his metal detector probably usually
Wow.
finds iron trash. And next to the iron trash, if he's lucky, there's some bottles.
Mm.
In this case, he pulled out an 1800s cannonball. And this cannonball's worth a lot more than what he was
Yeah.
as for sale.
Wow. That's a score.
I've
Holy
never seen
moly.
one of these for sale ever. I only saw one of these in a museum,
Yeah. I've really
the
seen.
Barbara Mission Museum. It's connected to the gift shop, and they only have one of these in the
Yeah.
entire museum. And I know it's authentic because it looks exactly the same as the Santa Barbara Mission cannonball.
You know how you can tell? They're not exactly perfect.
Well, I mean,
Usually. It
it
has a
has
tiny
it
little.
has iron patina that only exists on a freaking 200-year-old
That's
thing.
amazing. Yeah.
So this is legitimate 200-year-old patina. Uh,
So that was being fired in California when like there was no one there,
so I
basically.
googled this, and it comes up with some dude in India selling Civil War replica cannonballs, and they're fake.
Mm.
In India, they'll make fake everything.
Sure,
I
replica.
was looking for danger signs, and India will crank out 100 fake danger signs a day just to sell them as authentic antiques.
Yeah.
And they just made them yesterday, and they'll patina it, they'll crack it, they'll make it out of porcelain, they'll make it look as legitimate as possible. Apparently, they do the same thing with Civil War cannonballs.
That's crazy.
There was no Civil War in California. In California, it's
Right.
just
That's
literally
that's
privateers,
right.
pirates, and the
That's
Navy
right.
shooting these.
Yeah, it
And a
wasn't
lot of
Civil
people
War.
see cannonballs and they think of some cartoon cannonball this big, but most
Right.
cannonballs were this size right here.
But still, imagine something like that
It's
coming
very
at,
heavy. It's very heavy.
and I guess
Solid
they
iron.
would not only would they be catapulted out of the cannon, but they
Hmm.
would bounce. So they would bounce at like these incredible speeds. So if you didn't
Yeah.
get directly hit by one, it would bounce through people.
I mean, it's kind of like
I
a Civil
mean,
War gun, but on a huge scale. These cannons,
yeah,
I've seen them on Pawn Stars.
it's probably Mexican War
I've
or
seen them on
something.
Pawn Stars sell for $50,000. The cannons
Wow.
they're like this big. They're pretty huge,
Yeah.
but they're pretty small. You
Hmm.
know, they're like this big. They're a giant hunk of iron, and they shoot out this thing, and they go, and then they'll hit a ship, and they'll
Hmm.
shoot a whole bunch of them. I mean,
Yep. Do you think it's from a ship or do you think it's from a land cannon?
who knows? They probably found it on
Yeah.
the beach. To be honest, they probably found it
I
near the beach.
it might be. I was gonna say of that size, it might be like from a ship, from a pirate.
Yeah,
Actually,
it could
maybe
be.
even
This could be from pirate ship. To be honest,
just from deduction. Like
I'm gonna
because
take this to the grist mill, and I'm gonna use it as a trigger object to
oh my
see if I get any
gosh,
more responses. Because
that's such a good idea.
this thing right here is from like 1850, and the grist mill is from like 1850.
That's right.
They're a
Yeah.
similar time period.
Right.
So even though it's not something that hung out near the grist mill, any entity near the grist mill is going to be familiar with this object.
That's
They
right.
do it on Ghost Adventures. I thought I'd give it. I've never tried a trigger object before, so I'm going to give it a shot.
Cool. That's very cool, man. Wow, and that's quite the gift.
I mean, I don't
Uh,
know the value of it, but I would guess $500 to $2,000. I don't know. I
who
don't know the
knows?
value of it.
People love
It's still
Civil
rare.
War.
It's up in the air,
People love history stuff, and they
Yeah.
love stuff like that, especially like military history.
Hmm.
So like, and they like discovering like the origins of like where it's from, how it was used, possibly. And I'm really into that too. But I just don't have too many. It's not so often you come across like a cannonball. We do have a few here in Massachusetts and in New England,
Hmm.
but we're older than California in some ways. Like you're talking, I think that probably is like you said, pre-Civil War, possibly even going back to the Mexican War, even um, and even possibly even before that, where the founding by the Spanish by who was the guy Cortez, right? Or not Cortez? Was it Cortez? Yeah, or for not whatever. Whoever discovered Coronado, those guys. Who knows?
Yeah, the grist mill. It says pirate on the plaque, and I'm not going to
It's
say the name of
true.
the pirate, but I did go to the Santa Barbara Mission to research the pirate associated with the grist mill, and
Yeah.
his grave is at Mission Santa Barbara, and it's a mass grave with 5,000 dead bodies. So I don't think anyone's going to piece together the name necessarily. I still
This
want to.
wait, there's 5,000 in that thing.
There is a sign at Mission Santa Barbara
It's
that,
tiny.
and
It's like
it says in Mission Santa Barbara that we're talking. It says something in the neighborhood of 5,000 Chumash Native Americans were buried here,
whoa.
and it's microscopically tiny. It's the size.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like a
It's the
backyard.
size of like two small houses. So
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know how they buried them other than digging the huge
down.
trench, and just continually stacking.
Yeah, it is. It
And
is kind of hilly. I do notice it's very moundy. It's like a mound.
and the
You know.
name of the foreman who built Mission Santa Barbara, he stacked upon his family members.
Mm.
So there's like 10 family members all stacked in
Hmm.
one grave slot. And that's how they did it
Interesting.
back then because they didn't have room. But they
Yeah.
wanted to be buried specifically in the Mission Santa Barbara graveyard because it was an
Wow.
honor, and they were very Catholic and very religious, and they wanted to be real
Yeah.
close to the chapel. And the
Yeah.
chapel has three skulls, and it's
Hmm.
very interesting. It looks straight out of a pirate movie, but it's. I took a picture of it.
Love that place.
I used it for the thumbnail, and I did I did create an entire documentary for the grist mill, but I haven't released it yet.
Oh, really?
I will one day. I will release it. It's
Well,
just not 500 views or 100 views. And I feel the thing deserves 500,000 views.
I
Yeah,
agree.
you're a little discouraged. You know what I mean? So,
I agree, but I know people like who don't get like I like occasionally I'll have Discovery Channel on, Travel Channel, and I'll see somebody speaking about one of these topics and
mhm,
a topic that you've covered even better.
mhm.
And that person doesn't have a big YouTube
Uh,
following or many views or anything like that. So you
mhm.
never know who's watching out there and paying
I know.
attention
You
to
never
things.
know who's watching. Uh,
So, but
what,
I would just
when
say,
you,
and also it's about the truth, and it shouldn't really be about
yeah, it's not about
the
money. It's not about views.
hmm,
But when you are a YouTuber and you've done it for,
it is discouraging. I understand.
man, I've done YouTube since 6/6/2006
Yeah.
because it was a slow news day. Some guy specifically on the time travel forum, he said, "Oh, there's going to be a huge thing happening on 6/6/2006. It'll be huge." So I looked forward to it. I was like, "What's going to happen?" I mean, it's a very distinct date, maybe
Hmm.
something huge. Nothing happened, and it was such a
Yeah.
dull day. Obviously, I had the day off or whatever the case, and I signed up for YouTube on that day.
Ah, that's a long time. Wow.
So 2006, that's literally
Almost 20 years.
20 years ago. So I've been on YouTube almost exactly 20 years. I mean,
Wow.
in January, February, March, April, May, June. In June 6th, I'll be on YouTube for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I did make YouTube videos in 2006, but I deleted every single one of them. So the
Yeah.
earliest YouTube video you're going to see is 2008, I believe.
Oh,
Maybe
that's
you'll
too.
see, maybe you'll see one 2007. Because I was still working out how it worked, and if it got no views after 2 months, I deleted it back
Oh,
then.
wow. Mhm.
But yeah, 20 years. I've been a YouTuber for longer than Mr. Beast, longer than most of these mega super famous demon possessed people. And that's just
Yeah.
an exaggeration, demon possessed. But I
Yeah.
have a theory.
Uh,
Speaking of Mr.
Logan Paul. And, yeah.
Speaking of Mr. B, I have a theory.
Go for it.
Bill Gates. This is a theory no one's ever mentioned, no one's ever talked about. I'm not
I'll tell you
repeating.
something too later after
I'll
this.
tell
Yeah.
you
Go.
something. When I say something and it comes out of my mouth, I'm not getting it from Joe Rogan. I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it from Theo Vaughn. I'm not getting it from anybody. No one. Zero people. You can Google. You can Google for 1,000 hours. Where did he get that? I didn't get it from anyone. I'm literally inventing it from scratch. So from scratch, I am inventing the theory, and it's a loose theory. I'm not. I don't. This isn't a Q theory. I think QAnon is BS. Just for the record,
Me too.
QAnon has always been BS. I know this is a tangent, but one
Sorry.
time, like a UK newspaper, I think it was the Guardian, they contacted me. They're like, "You found John Titor.
Really?
Can you find Q?" And I'm like, "I don't give
Oh,
a crap about
huh.
Q. That's nonsense. I literally don't give a
Right.
crap about politics. I don't give a
Right.
crap about this Q BS conspiracy nonsense, which is a hoax." They're like, "Can you find the Q guy?" I'm like, "I don't care."
There is
But
not.
they
Yeah.
they literally thought, I think this is the Guardian, a
Wow.
major publication in the
Yeah, it
UK.
is big time. Yeah.
They're actually interested in Q so much they reached out to me to interview me. They
Hmm.
interviewed me. We're talking for 1, maybe 2 hours
About
straight
QAnon? What?
about QAnon. They've never released it.
Oh my
I
god.
get I get interviewed occasionally from maybe 2 years ago here, 3 years ago
Yeah.
there, 4 years ago there, and the interviews never come out. They never exist.
Yep.
They never
Yep.
manifest. Probably
I've
because I didn't find Q for them. This is what the people expected me to do. After the interview, they expected me to search for 10,000 hours and find Q so
right.
they could take credit.
Right.
But I didn't give
Exactly.
a two craps about it. So I
No.
didn't investigate for 1 second.
Good.
Off the bat, I told them I don't care. They're like, "How would
Yeah.
you find him?" I said, "Forensic linguistics, the guy probably has a fingerprint, a very specific way of typing. You do the work.
Yeah.
I ain't
Exactly.
interested, dude.
Right. No. Yeah.
Do it. You do the investigation. I ain't interested. I, I don't care about QAnon. Never have, never will."
Yeah.
And as we can see to this day, QAnon is a hoax and BS and nonsense, and only morons believe in it. Now, if I
Right.
offended any followers to follow me,
I
No,
don't think so.
offense intended, because you're a moron. I'm just saying QAnon is crap.
I remember when there were people who even wanted to discuss, wouldn't even say the letter Q. And like I remember David Wilcock believing that QAnon was, and still probably does,
Mhm.
believing wholeheartedly in QAnon. People were making money, a lot of money off of that, because they really believed that JFK Jr. was still alive somehow, living in a bunker underneath the Pentagon, typing out these Q things, and basically
It's
anyone
just
could
an
look.
anonymous troll on 4chan.
Well, it's that too, but I
It's
mean,
on, I
but
guess, 8chan or 9chan,
whatever,
11, 12chan. I can't keep track. I don't go to those.
whoever it is, it's a
I don't
couple
go
of
to those
people.
stupid websites. You know?
There's probably many, cues, and like, and it's the same thing with, like, so it got politicized, and what happened was it like the Q people became obviously aligned with the right wing, and
Wow,
just
crypto is shooting up.
is
By
it
the way,
now?
I just got an alert
Good.
that crypto is going up. It's back on the way up.
Well,
And
that's good.
I was going to say a stupid theory. So my theory, and I admit it's stupid, I'm making it up from scratch. You can Google for 1,000 hours. You're never going to find anyone else saying this. But I think Bill Gates personally,
Oh,
Bill
wow.
Gates, kind of the famous guy who founded Microsoft,
Yeah, yeah.
ripped off DOS from someone else. He paid like peanuts to a guy who invented DOS, took DOS and built Windows,
Yeah, I did.
and with the genius of forcing people to license every copy, which had never
Hmm.
been done beforehand, he
Wow.
he forced himself to become a billionaire. Pretty smart move.
Right.
So anyway, he's kind of the digital version of Robert Johnson. He almost
Oh my
shook
God.
hands with the devil because only the devil could give such good advice
It's
as to make a
interesting,
billion
huh?
dollars. But I think Bill Gates personally has backed and funded Mr. Beast,
Yep.
Mr. B, and no one's ever said that. Now, no one's ever questioned how did Mr. Beast
Mm.
go from making nothing and being a Christian channel, Christian based.
Is he really Christian?
His banner, if you go back to the first year of him being on YouTube, his banner had a cross on it, and he said, Christian, uh, Christian faith based, and he had like a maybe John 3:16. He was big into Christianity when he started,
I didn't know that. Wow.
and he had 0 views, and no one gave a crap about him. And then fast forward 5, 10 years, he made a video saying Logan Paul's name for 7 hours in a row. Logan Paul, Logan
Oh,
Paul,
that was
Logan
him?
Paul, Logan Paul for 7 hours in a row. And people that don't
Wow.
understand what demonic chanting is, that's demonic
Exactly.
chanting.
Well, it's also
It
trance.
doesn't
Trance.
matter if you say Mona Lisa, Mona Lisa. It
Right.
doesn't matter
Bloody Mary. Yeah.
if you say Bloody Mary. It doesn't matter if you say you could literally pick
Popcorn
the most
chicken.
benign word
Yeah.
and benign name on the planet. Peace and goodness, peace and goodness.
Right.
You can literally say anything, even if it sounds good and positive. If you
Yeah.
say it for 7 hours in a row and little kids, little teenagers are watching that for 7 hours in a row, they think, that's normal behavior. Yeah,
Right.
7 hours of chanting.
Exactly.
So a demonic person is going to see that and know that that person is very susceptible, manipulatable, and usable as a tool
Hmm.
and a puppet. And they're going to be gung ho into investing into using them as that tool and puppet. And to this
Yeah.
day, I think he signed an NDA where he can never reveal who his benefactor is. And he's rich and famous now. So it doesn't matter, but he's still never going to reveal who his benefactor is. I think it's someone like Bill Gates, a billionaire with a B, not
Yep.
no small fry millionaire. We're talking someone huge
It's
and
got to be.
big,
Yeah.
handed him, here's $10 million, give it away to homeless people, give it away,
Hmm.
whatever the case. You have to give every penny. It's almost like that movie with Richard Pryor. Remember that movie where he has to give away all of his inheritance and then he gets
Mm.
like 10 times more if he can successfully give away? Remember that movie? You ever seen
Oh
it?
yeah, right, kind of. I don't remember the name though. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
almost based on that movie.
yeah. That's
I can't
interesting.
remember the exact number, but it's like $10 million. Richard Pryor has like 10 days to give away 10
Right,
million, and if he doesn't give every penny away, he loses it all or something like
something
that.
like
That's the
that. Yeah,
premise
yeah,
of an
yeah.
80s movie. It's almost that crazy. And
Yeah.
yes, it seems that Mr. Beast is doing good stuff. And this, I don't want to talk about Mr.
True.
Beast too often, but
That's
this
okay.
is just a theory I have. No
Mm.
one has ever asked, how did he go from nothing to the richest YouTuber? We're talking he surpassed PewDiePie with
Yep.
less views, saying Logan Paul, Logan Paul. And at least
Wow.
PewDiePie is trying to do something interesting and trying to entertain and trying to give jokes and tell jokes.
Well,
He's not doing anything. He's just repeating stuff and then handing out money. But where did he get all his money? He
it's
did.
interesting.
He's getting
Well,
it from someone else.
yeah.
Originally, now he's rich. Now he can give his own money away. But
Hmm.
people say he gives 100% of every penny. Yeah, that's why he has a super mega mansion and a model.
Yeah.
I don't think so. He doesn't give it away. He
Yeah.
has in his bank account freaking $50 million. He's not
Oh, yeah.
giving it away.
No. That's the trick. That's the whole trick. But the a couple things. I guess there was this really cool TV show, Evil. It only had like 3 seasons, but it was very interesting look at the demonic, and it was very and how it works on like almost on a personal level between people and stuff in society. Anyway, there's a very demonic character in that's a hedge fund manager,
Mm-hmm.
and his job is to convince a YouTuber, a girl YouTuber, TikToker type personality, to hype up the song. And in the song, if you play it slowly, it says to unalive yourself. It tells you in detail how to unalive yourself.
Mm-hmm.
She gets super amount of money for doing this and blah blah blah. But then eventually they catch on to it, and she isn't used. But that's not so far fetched. And there is Operation Beast Blast, which I have heard of, because people are questioning Mr. Beast too,
Mm-hmm.
and but not in the way that you have. I. The other thing is the chanting. And I've done chants. I've done meditations. The Buddhists use their Om, very
Mm-hmm.
much, and I believe that can take you to a beautiful place, but it can also be hypnotic, and it can also empty the vessel so that something can come in and through you.
Most definitely.
So I think you're right about that. For 7 hours,
When
that's
I say the
incredible.
7 hours one, that's a small, that's a
And I
short,
remember
that's
that.
a short one. He has a 17-hour one. He see when I mentioned this to
Is it
someone who I
real
saw
though? I mean,
when I
it's like,
mentioned this to someone who I saw in person, they said they're not familiar with that. That's because they're only familiar with him giving away money.
right.
The first year of Mr. Beast's popularity, the first year, okay, maybe 5 years, he had no success at all. So year one of him being successful, handing out money, was immediately after about 10 videos he did. And those 10 videos involved him repeating names between 5 and 24 hours straight. One of them involved him counting to the number 1 million. He counted 1,
I remember
2,
that.
3, 4, all the way to 1 million.
That was him.
And that video took like 3 days.
That's Mr. Beast. I
That's
forget.
Mr. B. He counted to 1 million. He's the first YouTuber to count to 1 million.
No, he used to do that. Yeah.
But
Okay.
but the 7-hour one of him of Logan Paul, and people will correct me. No, it's not 7 hours. It's 6.2 hours. First of all,
Whatever.
I've never watched more than
Shut up,
2
kid.
Mr. Beast videos,
Yeah.
and the 2 I saw was the Logan Paul one for 30 seconds, and then him giving away money, and then clips, and then I saw clips of him saying someone else's name for 15 hours, someone else's name for 10 hours, someone else's name for 6 hours. And so he has said multiple other people's names for between 5 and 20 hours. That's psychotic, brainwashed, demonic behavior to an extreme degree. But aside from that, no one has ever questioned, who's the benefactor, blah, blah, blah. But hey, I do have a package from Mr. Pibb. Speaking of sponsors.
Oh, let's see this. This should be good.
I've
Mr.
never
Pibb.
opened this. This is from last year. This is from December 2025.
Wow. It's been waiting for us,
It's
everybody.
sealed. I've never opened it, Mr. Pibb. So first of all, Mr. Pibb dropped, and I have a conspiracy considering Mr. Pibb.
Yeah, tell us about Mr. Pibb.
First of all,
I
Mr.
don't know
Pibb
much
was
about.
canceled like 10 years ago. American Dad made fun of it, and they have a whole episode how the character Stan is obsessed with Mr. Pibb, and oh
Is
my
it like
gosh,
a?
why are they
Is it a
canceling?
fictional? Originally a fictional soda?
No, this is a real soda.
Oh, okay. And
Mr.
then
Pibb has existed since at least the 70s
70s or something. Yeah.
and 80s and 90s, and it was fairly popular. I would say it was
All
the
right.
number one knockoff popularity wise of Dr. Pepper. That's what all
Oh,
it was. It
that's
was
true.
always the number one Coca-Cola knockoff of Dr. P. And I wasn't a
Okay.
huge fan, but the reissue, I actually am a fan. The reissue that I have a really good memory when it comes to what I taste. And back in the
Mm.
80s, maybe I only had Mr. Pibb once in the 80s. I'm like, this is fake Dr. Pepper. In the 90s, I probably had it 10 times. I was like, it's okay, but it's not as good. It's kind of like tasting Pepsi when you want Coke. Just a little bit off.
Yeah.
But the reissue, they injected a lot more cherry. So there's
Oh,
a lot more cherry,
smart. Yeah.
and it's not overly full of sugar. It
That's
has a
good.
lot less sugar, more cherry, less sugar, and it has a really appealing, nostalgic flavor to it.
Mm.
It tastes like you went to a bowling alley and you got some Dr. Pepper, and it
Yeah.
has a perfect combo of cherry in that Dr. Pepper. It tastes kind of like it tastes like bowling alley Dr. Pepper. That's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, yeah. I get that. I
But
kind of understand.
I liked it. I like it.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm not lying. I actually enjoy it. So
All right. So it comes in a
covering
box.
my address, but this is a sealed box. I've never opened this.
Yeah, don't
I
show
told
that.
Mr. Pibb I would open it. The reason Mr. Pibb sent me this is because I saw a huge pallet at Food Max, and I took a picture, and I'm like, wow, Mr. Pibb's back. You got to understand. 10 years ago, there was a huge thing on Mr. Pibb's Canceled Forever. And I see a huge pallet. I'm like, well, it's clearly not canceled. It's back. But I happen to have stopped taking sugar a couple months before seeing this pallet of sugar. And I was looking for diet, and they
Out of
didn't have diet. So I just took a picture because I couldn't drink it because I'm on a sugar-free diet.
Yeah,
Everything I'm drinking is sugar-free. Right now I'm drinking this sugar-free energy drink.
I'm all sugar free too.
Right
Yeah.
now I'm drinking this
I know what you mean.
sugar-free Powerade.
Powerade, yep.
Zero everything.
Me too.
When you drink zero, you lose a lot of
You
weight.
do. Yeah.
So sugar is the number one epidemic, I think, in the United States for obesity.
It is. Absolutely.
RFK is going to say it's this and this and this, and I'm sure he's right about some of those things.
Yeah.
But in my experience, it's sugar, sugar, sugar. That's it.
Sugar, yeah. Alcohol.
Carbs turns into sugar in the body.
Carbs, basically
Except
carbs. Yeah.
other than carbs, it's sugar, sugar, sugar. So I want to open this up for the first time.
Yeah.
What happened is I just took a picture of the palette. I was excited because, I was sort of a fan of Mr. Pibb to an extent. I mean, maybe the last time I had it was in 1999. Maybe I had it while watching freaking The Matrix in the movie theater. So it's
Family
a memory, And
I heard Steve Urkel liked Mr. Pibb.
Pibb actually retweeted me, and they're like, "Oh, we'll send you." They DM'd me. They said we're going to send you a free Mr. Pibb.
That's awesome.
Is your tweet on it? And I don't know if my tweet's on it. We're gonna
No way, really? Let's see. Oh, your tweet on the.
And of course, I don't have a knife with me.
Wow, you get a CD case.
I got to
Ladies and
open this
gentlemen,
up somehow.
cutting a box of Mr. Pibb. I want to meet Mrs. Pibb too. I think Mrs. Pibb would be a nice addition to the family of Pibbs. And I want to thank
other
Mr.
people
Pibb.
have opened up their box back in the back in the 2025s, but 2026 I might be the only one open this up because then I don't think they're shipping this out to people these days.
Do you think are you strong enough?
I don't want to destroy it.
I know, that's true. Just like cut it on the.
I want to see what this looks like.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. So here we go. Wow.
Let's see. What does it do? What is it? Ooh.
That's an exclamation point.
Whoa. Oh my God. Look at that.
And
oh, that's so neat.
They didn't give me the deluxe package. They just give me a basic box, but I'm fine with that.
It pops. Look at that.
Okay. It says Pib on it. It
Mm.
says, "Yo, you up? I know 24 years is a little long to leave you on read, but I needed time to work on myself, and trust me, this is an upgrade. So here's a little taste for the new meat, but a little warning for your taste buds. There's a kick, Mr. Pibb. P.S. My good side, the one with the logo." So it does taste a little bit different.
Wow.
Does taste a little bit different.
That's so
It's more
cool.
cherry. It's more cherry flavored than I remember back.
Awesome. Let's see.
Okay, here's the can. Now, does it have my tweet on it? No, it does not have my tweet on it.
Hey, Cher, look underneath and stuff.
That's fine. I
No,
don't mind. It doesn't have
it's
my.
got to be somewhere.
I mean, this is a special can, Kickin' Cherry Soda. So I'm
That's.
gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep this special.
I like the case. Put it in the case. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
mean, they
very
didn't
cool.
send this to everybody. So, this particular episode is to an extent sponsored by Mr. Pibb, and I
Yeah,
appreciate Mr. Pibb for giving me one single can.
thank
If you give
you.
me a case of the Diet Pibb,
Hey,
we will sponsor you a little bit more by just giving you free shout outs.
that's right. And we have,
Hey,
like I
it,
said,
it
that's
has to
pretty
start
cool.
small. It's not some huge sponsorship, but I got
It's
some
something.
better than
It's
nothing.
something.
Better than nothing.
Way better than nothing. We've had our JBL sponsorship fall off, and our Poland Spring sponsorship. Um, I'm still hoping that they'll sponsor the show. They are, after all, from Maine, Poland Spring,
And
Maine.
Celsius definitely does not sponsor us,
No,
unfortunately.
unfortunately, they might. They do sponsor Theo Vaughn, who is a
Well, they
very
did
good friend.
until I saw their slots filled with Pepsi. So I think
Oh,
Pepsi
really?
sponsors Theo now.
Huh. Interesting. That's so funny. But you said something real. Oh, so anyway, so when I first saw the because you had told me about the Santa Barbara mission,
Mhm,
and then I happened to have had a baby there at the world. We're right next to there at this
mhm,
place, this hospital that Michael Jackson himself had not he but his wife had a baby in this
mhm.
maternity ward, and apparently Michael Jackson flew in on the helipad and immediately took off with the baby back to
Is
Neverland.
that where Blanket or Paris was born?
Something, one of them, yeah.
Mhm,
So, um, but anyway, it was the same hospital, and it's
mhm.
an amazing hospital.
That makes sense.
Prince Henry, Prince Harry's kid was Meghan Markle. They were same maternity. Anyway,
Mhm,
next to that is the mission. It's like right there. So
mhm,
I would walk out of the hospital, go for a walk because it's like 8 hours, and
mhm.
you spend in the hospital because the baby had just had to stay to do some tests and make sure everything was okay. And I was staying there. I was living there essentially, right? And it
Mhm.
was pretty nice. But it had like a farmer's market in the middle of it. Next door is a Santa Barbara Mission, and that place is beautiful. The architecture alone, and it's like I remember you telling me about the graveyard,
Mhm.
and I was like, I gotta see that part. You can see it, but
You have to pay money to get in.
yeah,
It
but
costs like 10 or $15 to do the tour, and I had to pay that to get in to ghost investigate. So
yeah.
I have like ghost hunting equipment on me in my jacket and my pockets. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like filled to the gills with like 4 ghost hunting devices. And then I see this sign that says 5,000 Native Americans are buried in this
Mm-hmm.
mass grave. And I'm like, I'm not going to turn on my nail meter. I'm
Right.
not turning on any ghost device. I respect this place too much. I don't want to disrupt the peace of this mass grave. It's
Mm.
such a small spot,
So weird. Yeah.
5,000 people stacked. That's something I don't want to
Well,
disturb.
I
And the
went.
lady at the front desk, she already didn't like me because I was wearing a shirt that said ghost investigation.
So what? Yeah.
And in Catholicism, you might already know this. They dislike the word ghost so much that they hired a monk to grab a whiteout marker back in the 1500s and white out every time it says ghost in the Bible and
Really?
change it to spirit. So
Hmm.
they literally asked 1,000 monks to grab every Bible, the King James Bible, and just to obviously not use a whiteout marker, but they're recopying the entire Bible, and they rewrote the entire Bible with spirit instead of ghost.
Interesting.
But if you
Well,
go back before that, Holy Ghost is what it said in the Bible.
yeah.
But no,
Well, even now it says that too.
ghost is a scary word. It's scary. Ooh.
Well, the
The
whole
Holy
King.
Ghost isn't scary. The Holy Ghost is still the Holy Spirit. It's literally the same entity.
Yeah. No, that's
But to a Catholic, they know if they see the word ghost, it's not a Catholic related associated association. They'll
mm,
know ghost. Ugh. That's just what I heard
yeah.
when I picked up the Catholic Bible. I saw that it doesn't say ghost once in the entire Catholic
Interesting.
Bible.
I will go check, but I do have like the liturgy and a lot of references.
They
You're
just
right.
prefer the word Holy Spirit,
Spirit
prefer
is
the
used more
phrase,
often.
and I understand to an extent, but there's nothing scary about the word ghost.
I don't
So,
know if it's for scary reasons. I think because there's a lot of scary stuff in the Bible, but it's but like I don't know. I think, but you're right. In my experience, I do hear spirit more from the Protestant churches
it's
actually.
I think it's just a superstition thing.
Could be. Could have
It's
just
what it
been
is.
one person who just like you said, a monk that just decided
I
to.
mean, even King James himself
Yeah, right. That guy
put
was.
James in there, and before James, there was different names. He's like,
He
put
also
my name in there more.
he also wrote a book on demonology. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like he had like a dictionary of demonology, like one of the first books on in like persecuted witches and stuff. Anyway, anyway, back to the graveyard. So I wanted to hop over it, that fence, but that fence is like
It's very tall. It
it's
has
it,
it
it
has a
was no
very tiny iron top, but
it's iron.
you have to be 15 feet to see
You
over.
would if you slip a little bit, you are getting. I'm not even joking. Impaled on
Just
like it's like
pay the
this.
$10 to $15. It's not that much.
No, no,
It's
yeah,
worth checking it out.
but like yeah, but it's something else. I mean, it's very compact. You can
I was
see
I was
it's like old tombstone after old tombstone after old
yeah.
tombstone after
I
old,
was there like at 9 a.m. and there was no one. I was there by myself.
and then
So if you
it
go there
definitely
very early, you'll get a tour by yourself. Really,
and then I went around the back, and like around the back you like it definitely drops off, so it is like a burial mound, so they did really stack those up like that.
mhm.
And that fence, yeah, it goes all around, and you're not getting over that, easily. I'm sure people do, but at their own risk. But yeah, that the Grist Mills documentary would be really cool. I think there's definitely a big story there,
Yeah,
that no one really knows
I
about.
don't want Zach Bagans to co-opt it. I don't
Well,
want him
it's
to.
gonna happen. Like people co-op stuff, I guess. And there's
See,
like
I have so many connections to the grist mill. I have Michael Jackson connections. I
really.
have a local story of the devil appearing connections.
Hmm.
And this story I thought might have been ancient. See, I picked up a local ghost hunting book online. I think I might have got it on Amazon
Mm-hmm.
because I was searching ghost hunting books and
Yeah,
I saw one and it said locally and it mentioned Santa Barbara or something to that effect, just local haunted locations.
I think they had
So
them for
I
sale.
picked it
Yeah.
up. It was dirt cheap. It was like $10 or something. And in it has a story from literally, we're talking 15 years ago. It's a
No way.
15-year-old story, virtually a brand new story. In terms of ghost hunting, you hear 100-year-old stories,
Right.
50-year-old stories, 75-year-old stories. A 15-year-old story. I grew up
About
there,
what? The grist mill?
not the grist mill, but
Oh, okay.
close to the grist mill.
Okay.
We're
Well,
talking a road that's just a couple miles away from the
oh,
grist mill,
wow.
and someone saw the devil. So that's a pretty huge connection.
I'm not a big believer in superstition and stuff like that. I was watching
They
Street.
said the devil, but they actually described it as a guy in a top hat who might have been the devil.
Well,
I
that's
don't want to give away too much because then someone Googles and then they find out where the grist mill is. You know what I mean? So
that's not gonna happen. It's so off the radar.
I know,
But
I know.
it's not gonna happen. I don't think. But they would Google top hat and they would see. I think it's what is it, Papa Legba or whatever. He was actually a Disney character. He wears the top hat and he has the smile and he's a skeleton.
I mentioned the story in one video already. So this is the story, and I can give a super vague version of it.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
A person was just leaving the road near a certain city or town or so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And they saw a stagecoach with two horses, a black stagecoach with two black horses. And they're like, that's not normal. Like, this isn't
This is
Solvang.
15 years ago, you're saying?
This is only 15 years ago.
Okay.
That
does make sense.
We're talking, what? 2016?
Mm-hmm.
What? That would have been 10
Whatever,
years.
yeah.
So 2010, maybe 2009, 2011. Mm-hmm. So between 2009 and 2011, that sounds closer to the time frame.
So that'd be unusual.
So they're leaving in their car. They're driving in their car, their modern car, and they see a stagecoach, which isn't impossible. Solvang has stagecoaches.
That's true. It is kind of old-timey.
You see these Danish-looking horses.
Yeah, it's like back in time.
Looking decoration. But this isn't Denmark. This isn't Solvang.
They are
from a different area, different location, less touristy.
Right. But still,
there's nothing like a stagecoach in this area on any tourist level.
Well, there are
a black stagecoach, two black horses, and they see a guy on top with the reins in full black suit with a black top hat. And they're like, that's unusual. They're like, that's a little strange.
Yeah.
So they keep driving and they turn and it's gone.
Okay.
So I think there's two people in the car saw it. And it was gone within a split second, but they could hear it. They can hear the shuffle. They can hear the horses walking. Everything's real. They turn within 5 seconds. It's gone. But it was fully manifested, fully walking, fully normal. It was authentically there. They even saw someone in the passenger seat. It looked like a woman.
There is something to that area, man.
And so in the story, it says that the woman, and this is probably the author of the ghost hunting book making up some BS on the spot just to spice up their book, But the author says, and they say the woman was being taken to hell. And that was the devil driving her from her fancy house down to hell. I mean, of course, they added that. Cool. I don't think the people who reported it added that part.
Right. That's funny. Well, but that place does.
But that location, that exact location.
It's interesting.
They gave the crossroads. And I looked it up and like, wow, that is
no kidding.
Close to the grist mill.
Huh. Because I do remember.
That's a little coincidental. You know what I mean?
I mean, even like I do remember us driving through on the way, and those roads, there was a weird feeling going through them. I can't really put my finger on it, but it's like these estates and this big road, and it is kind of back in time. There are these weird pockets that people don't know about in California, little neighborhoods like Solvang or other places where like it's a little pocket of like extremely wealthy people with horses. And then another place, it's like people from the Netherlands that settled somehow and had their own city. And then the Rosicrucians and the Freemasons. And then like there's all these like little tiny like things like that in California. It's fascinating. It's a really interesting state.
Well, I can say that close to the grist mill, and I don't want to give away the location whatsoever.
No.
My sister actually rented an apartment.
No way.
And so one day, I think it was some family event, and I stayed at my sister's apartment. I literally slept on the floor in the living room. That's it, in a sleeping bag.
Yeah.
All the rooms were full, and
Yeah.
I was just on a sleeping bag in the living
I
room.
like the floor actually. I don't mind it.
So I didn't mind it. It was comfortable. Everything was fine.
Sleeping bag's fine.
I was probably a late teenager during this time frame,
Yep.
and I had literally the scariest dream I've ever had in my life.
Oh my God.
So the proximity was pretty close to the grist
And
mill.
do you remember the dream?
It was a demon dream, 100%. I remember the dream to an extreme degree. It was super demonic. I don't want
Like
to mention
you don't
it.
want to say it? Okay.
I don't want to say what, but I did make a video
Oof.
about it and where I did
Oh,
talk about
that
it.
okay. That was
I guess I can give you a hint of what was
okay.
in the dream. So what was in the dream, I later saw in a movie. And when I Googled when was this movie made, because it's so close to my dream,
Oh,
I was like, did the writer director also have this dream?
I think I might
Because
know.
I never mentioned the dream. So they couldn't have stolen it from me. It's
No.
one of those scenarios where it's just an idea floating
Yep.
around, you know?
That happens. Yep.
So anyway,
It's a
I
real
had
thing.
this super demonic dream, never mentioned it to anybody, except maybe the next day, my nephew and my sister, I might have said, wow, I had a freaky dream last night.
Yeah, yeah.
That's literally the extent of anything that
Stays
came
with
out of
you.
my mouth. Just, wow, I had a freaky dream. That's it. So even they never heard the details of the dream because they didn't ask a follow up. They're like, oh, okay, whatever.
Right. Dream. Yeah.
But 10 years later, I watch a
Hmm.
movie, and the movie is like 1 year old at this point. It's a 1 year old movie. So maybe 9 years in the future, a movie comes out showcasing something in that dream. And so they could, so
That's what?
it had to be a
So,
demonic dream, and the demonic dream also inspired the people who wrote this movie. And the movie is called Cabin in the Woods.
oh my God, yes.
So
By
there's a
Josh
scene in Cabin
Whedon.
in the
Yeah.
Woods, and I don't want to describe it, but it almost exactly mirrored the
I
vibe
gotta watch that again. Yeah.
of what I saw in the dream.
It's a great
Almost
flick.
exactly. The only difference between Cabin in the Woods and my dream is a bunch of snakes popped
Yeah.
out. A bunch of snakes came out of their bodies. I don't
100%
want to. I
demonic.
don't want to go more into detail than that, but he was so
Yeah.
scary. I think he was so scary. I woke up in like a sweat,
Yep.
and that doesn't happen too often. I don't have nightmares. I don't have dreams like that. It's not
Yeah.
normal. We're talking maybe once a year, once every 2, 3 years, I'll have a
Hmm.
freaky dream.
Hmm.
And if you have a dream that scary, if you have a dream that freaky,
Hmm.
it's either just a
Well,
nightmare, maybe your reflection of this and that,
yeah.
or it's a demon inspired dream. And I think that was a demon dream, to be honest.
Uh, yeah. Usually, and from what I've paid close attention to my dreams over the years, and I remember, like, they're still somewhat of a mystery to me. But I do think that I do also have the serpents that of like a multitude of serpents, um, like together forming like giant like figures. Like I mean, just like enveloping everything. And whenever that happens in a dream now, if it ever happens again, which it doesn't much, um, it's clearly demonic. I think that's a big sign. I think I do. Carl Jung talked about the serpentine energy, the kundalini energy that rises like a serpent, and you have to become the serpent to become Christ, and Christ had to defeat the serpent to be, and all this stuff. But the serpent is associated with evil and the devil, I think, for a reason, and like I do think like it manifests in that form, and I think it does for a lot of different people too.
Yeah, I don't recommend watching that movie. I'm not in any way, shape, or form
No, it's kind of, I mean,
endorsing
but
the movie. I
it's
think
a
the movie is
literary device.
horrific. It's a
Yeah,
disgusting movie. And I think the writer
Josh Whedon.
had similar dreams that I had, and they just put it
Josh
on the
Whedon.
script.
Josh Whedon wrote. He wrote the Avengers. He did the Avengers movies.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the premiere that you went to. He directed maybe that one. I think. He did. Josh Whedon did Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He's famous for that.
Mm-hmm.
And a bunch of Angel and like he did like X-Men comic books, and kind of a big shot. Got in a lot of trouble for being a jerk as a director.
So
Big
speaking of
surprise.
angels, do you want to talk about Roger Morneau? And
Yeah, let's get into that before. Yeah, please.
okay.
You said you had something about Roger Morneau you want to talk about. I like to hear. You
I don't
should
know.
probably tell who is Roger Morneau, just really quickly.
Roger Morneau is just a dude who's a Canadian, and he was of a pretty prominent founding Canadian family, the Morneaus. They had an estate. They're pretty prominent. I think they were Catholic, and Roger didn't particularly believe in Catholicism. He was kind of an atheist. He joined the Navy in World War II,
Yeah.
and the Canadian Navy he joined was the Merchant Navy. So I think, see, Americans don't know too much about the Canadians' involvement in World War II. So I had to find this just researching Roger.
Mm.
But the Merchant Navy gave supplies to the Americans, gave supplies to the Allies, and they did risk their lives to give supplies. We're talking medical
Absolutely.
and food and
Tom Green's
medical.
dad, Tom Green's
And
father.
they're the Merchant Marines, and they some of their boats were lost, and some of their lives were lost, and they died
Absolutely.
giving supplies to the Allies. And Roger, he valiantly, was in the Merchant Marines, and he had a friend who was also in there, and so he gets back home to Montreal, Canada, and he's working at a bowling alley. He's just working 9 to 5 in a crappy bowling alley. I mean, he's just doing his best. He just got back from the
War. You couldn't need
the
a job.
war. He just needed a regular job.
I think you already had a family by then,
He
right?
sees one of his friends from the war come in to the bowling alley, and he immediately asks his boss, "Hey, can I get the evening off? This is my friend from World War II. I just want to catch up with him." And the boss says, "Okay, all right." So he catches up with his friend, who he never names his name because he wants to keep his friend anonymous. He's a good friend. Even after his friend did all this horrific stuff, even after all that, he wants to protect, this isn't for anonymous reasons. I personally believe Roger's story is true. And even
Me
the
too.
Christian scientists, or what is it, the Seventh-day Adventists? See, I get them all mixed up.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many sects of Christianity. It's not the Christian sect. It's the Seventh-day Adventists.
Right.
I just see them both as weird fringe Christians. We got
They both have
Christian
S.
scientists, Seventh-day Adventists. They're very similar.
They are. They actually
we got
are.
Mary Baker Eddy in the Christian Scientists.
Right.
We got a similar figure with the Seventh-day Adventists. Anyway, in Seventh-day Adventism, they believe so hardcore in one facet of the Bible that the seventh day is the day you should worship
One
and
sentence.
no other day. So they believe Saturday is the Sabbath.
Yeah.
And they're so die hard on that.
They can have it, yeah.
Seventh-day Adventists.
Yeah.
And you have to respect
and believe.
I
do.
So anyway,
Roger,
Roger's an atheist. His family, maybe historically, are Catholics, but even at this point, he's an atheist. He's just living day to day, smoking cigarettes, drinking booze. He's
betting,
working
gambling,
a crappy bowling alley.
Gambling.
And his friend comes in, and his friend says, "Hey, guess what? I got a hookup. You working this piece of crap job? I got a hookup. Let's go to a freaking seance." And Roger's like, "Seance? What are you talking about? What are you, out of your mind?" He's like, "Let's go to this seance in a week." So Roger's like, "I don't know if I want to go." Fast forward a million years in terms of a million words. I can't say the whole story. You can Google it. Right. You can look it up.
You have videos on it.
Roger goes to the seance. At the seance, a spirit walks through the wall. Roger's like, "Whoa, this isn't fake. What's going on?" And his friend isn't freaked out at all. A spirit literally walks through the wall and talks to them. And his friend is like, "This ain't nothing." And then some jazz musician band leader who's at the seance invites them to a club And then he says, how long have you guys been sorcerers? Because this jazz musician is being fed information from an evil spirit. Because the seance is a front for a spirit worship society. And it's a legitimate devil worship society. And Roger, with the help of his friend who's from the war, is convinced to join this devil worship society to get rich and make money and not work at a crappy bowling alley anymore. And it's a very appealing thing to someone who's poor and maybe doesn't have much going on,
Yeah.
But and Roger is given a gift from the evil spirits, and the gift is he's literally asked, "What do you want?" You can basically take your pick. What do you want?
Money.
And Roger says, "I would like clairvoyance to be able to see the future, perhaps in betting,
Yeah.
perhaps in gambling." So from time to time, Roger perhaps gambles at the horses, which is a normal pastime during this time frame in the 1940s.
Mm-hmm.
And he's given the gift of being able to see the winning horse numbers like a week in advance. So evil spirit comes to Roger while he's sleeping, gives him the winning horse numbers, gives him the winning horse names, and he says it comes to him like a vision. And anyway, fast forward, I think it's possible people like Epstein might have been members of this evil organization if it still exists in any modern time frame.
Why do you connect the two?
Well, I connect the two because there is a character in Roger's society who he describes as kind of being a misfit, kind of being someone who even breaks the rules in a devil worship society. And this guy, so Roger meets the different members of the society. He says he expected in his head for them to be a bunch of like Hell's Angels, like really rough and tough guys. And this is before the Hell's Angels was even a big thing. But the way he describes it kind of comes across the realm of Hell's Angels. He kind of describes it as he expected rough and tough biker type guys. Right. And I guess there would have been biker type guys in the 40s. But this is Roger retelling the story. Yeah. Roger's retelling the story in the 80s and even in the 90s. So, he's
using references.
Using modern day references to really describe what he thought they would be like.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good analogy. If you're going to think devil worshippers, you're going to think people with a bunch of tattoos.
Right.
A bunch of biker chains, like a bunch of maybe they're wearing a bunch of leather.
Not one that looks like me, like a total, you know what I mean? Like, no.
And Roger said they didn't look like bikers. They didn't look anything like that. He said they looked like a bunch of doctors and lawyers. A lot of he said
Is that what he said?
He said they're wearing suits.
Doctor Who lawyers?
He said they're wearing the finest suits. They're all doctors. They're all lawyers. They're all very well versed.
Oh,
we're talking politicians, doctors, lawyers. These are the type of people that he's seen at the society. Very well spoken, very intelligent looking people. And so they seem to be the exact opposite of what he pictured in his head when he's invited to this place.
Interesting. Yeah.
And Roger said that one of them was described as a misfit and kind of broke the rules. And how do you break the rules in a devil worship society? Right. Well, Roger was given the gift of clairvoyance, seeing the future, perhaps even on the lottery, but he didn't use it for the lottery. He used it for horse betting, but it possibly would have worked for the lottery. Someone even asked him during interviewing Roger, they asked him, would it work with the lottery? And Roger said, probably. He said it probably would have worked with the lottery, Roger said one of the members asked for the gift of hypnotism, to hypnotize people to do whatever he wanted them to do. Epstein is the type of guy, and I don't even like to mention his name. I don't want to say his name.
I don't either, but
I don't want to say his name anymore. But he had a perfect formula, perfect to the T, of manipulating young women on the exact level of this character that Roger described. Roger said he was told that this character manipulated women to do whatever he wanted them to do. And what is some evil person going to do? They're going to do that. You know what I mean? And
I understand
I
that,
know
but
it's a stretch to an
no,
extent,
but no, it's
but
interesting. But
there are
you're
more
right.
connections. There was a member who worked the stock market, and he made more money than any other person in the history of making money on the stock market ever because they always won. Because they're
Mhm.
using a similar clairvoyance type of technique of knowing what's going to go up, what's going to go down.
Yeah, I saw
Epstein,
footage.
and I
Yeah,
don't want to say his name too often,
yeah,
but
whatever. It's
he
fine.
knew everybody. He made
Yeah,
connections with the rich and the powerful, and he sought that out. But those who really investigated him as a person, he wasn't particularly intelligent. He wasn't a
right.
genius. He wasn't a stock market genius. He
He
wasn't a
was
finance
right.
genius. He kind of manipulated people and tricked people and scammed them, and
Kind of
to the
true.
point where he had them and they were forced to make financial
Yeah,
deals with him because he had dirt on them type of a situation.
yeah.
That's the type of manipulation that a member of that society would be an expert at.
That's a good
And
point. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if he was a member or not, but if a society exists, people like Epstein, people like Bill Gates, people like, who knows, just the rich and the mega elite are going to be sought after, even if not by, I mean, evil spirits.
yeah.
They're going to take advantage, but they're also going to prop people up. I can tell you this much. I went to Hearst Castle, a
Oh
very
yeah.
famous castle in California, and it's not
Yep.
really a castle; it's just an estate.
House. Yeah.
It's a super mega mansion in
Yeah.
the mountains in the hills,
That's right.
and I see this like $1 billion estate, and it's like clearly a $1 billion
Oh
building
yeah.
complex, and it has
Hmm.
its own church in the middle. And
Chapel. Yeah.
I heard the tour guide, and I did pull out my camera and I did start recording, but he was too late because he stopped mentioning it.
Hmm.
But the tour guide said at the Hearst Castle, he said, "Do you see that like gargoyle figure to the left and to the right of the entrance of the church?" He said the reason Mr. Hearst built this church and built these gargoyle figures with shields is to keep out evil spirits.
I believe it.
And then I researched a little bit and found out
His daughter. Yeah.
Mr. Hearst got rich from
From
digging and finding gold and minerals
right.
in the billions of dollars.
That's
Who,
true.
who digs and finds billions of dollars worth of gold?
And there is that
Someone
connection.
someone that has inspiration from evil spirits. That's who. Evil spirits can see
Interesting.
straight through the dirt. They know where the gold is. They're going to give it to only someone who they can manipulate, whatever the case. But I think it got to the point where
Hmm.
Mr. Hearst has all this money and now he's freaked out because he knows evil spirits exist. He builds a
Hmm.
church and he builds gargoyles to protect himself from the whole thing that caused him to get the riches to begin with.
Yeah. Well, at least Orson Welles got him and stuck it to Hearst and made Citizen Kane, which was like is still to me holds up and is still the greatest movie possibly of all time. Citizen Kane, and he stuck it so bad to Hearst that Hearst tried to ruin Orson Welles' life and stop it from playing the movie from playing right. And Rosebud, I'm not going to say what it is, but it's the nickname that Hearst had for his mistress's body part. Um,
Okay.
and so when he put that in there, it's like, I mean, Orson Welles is a genius, you know, he really stuck it to the evil people. But yeah, I mean, these people, I think there's a couple of things.
Well, I heard that Epstein, and I don't want to say his name anymore. I heard that he won the lottery 2 times. Now,
Yeah,
I researched to
that's
find out
right.
if
That's a
that's
good point.
true. I researched to find out if that's true. Every
He won
research I
once,
found
right?
said it's not true, it's
Oh,
fake, it's
really?
bogus. Some lady with a similar organization won the lottery, and it's totally disassociated with him in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, that's not true. But if you can find anybody that won the lottery on any huge level twice, they perhaps have the same gift Roger was given of being able to
That's a
see
good
lottery
point.
numbers. So
Perhaps that's why they keep it that database,
you
and maybe
can't
Can you
find
imagine if like you keep, that'd be a cool story if like a person keeps hitting the lottery, right? And they're like, what's going on with my life? And then all of a sudden government agencies are like watching them and like recruits them.
yeah,
What is your special power? You're not the only
yeah.
one. There's a whole team of us. You know, we've known
Like
about this. Yeah.
when it comes to this secret society,
Like the lottery is a way to find psychics. That's been kind of interesting.
well, the lottery is also a way to find members of
Demons,
the society. This
right?
society is
We're straight
so
up.
complete, and even to this day, you hear. I'm sure you're familiar with someone saying, "Oh, but Satanists are atheists." Have you heard that?
Of
Satanists are
course,
atheists.
of course,
Well, first of all,
all the time.
last I checked, Anton LaVey didn't invent Satanism. Anton
People think he
LaVey,
did,
he
right?
did not invent Satanism.
No, he did
Anton
not.
LaVey isn't the end all be all of Satanism.
Nope.
1,000 years before Anton LaVey was born, Satanism still existed.
Right.
And so there are Satanists that actually believe in Satan and are not
Oh
atheists.
yeah.
Only
Oh
in
yeah.
modern times does some dude paint his house in San Francisco black
Yeah.
and
Call himself.
go
Yeah.
to the local coffee shop and print up some cards saying I'm a
And
Satanist.
saying he was
Then
in
he
Rhode
went to Los
Island.
Angeles and he
Right.
bought a residence and he
Got his
said, "This
photo
is the
taken with
Los
famous.
Angeles chapter of the Church of Satan." And
Yeah.
then people are saying that's the whole universe of Satanism. Two houses, one in San Francisco, one in LA. No, that's not the end all be all of Satanism.
No, it's not.
Satanism exists outside of San Francisco and LA.
Of course.
There are true Satanists that actually believe in Satanism. Now, I understand,
Yeah.
generally
They
speaking,
talked about
you're
too.
talking
Yeah.
about a death metal band.
Kubrick knew about him as well, by the way.
When you're talking about a death metal band, they're probably going to be joking around. They don't believe in it. 99%, maybe 75%, maybe 50% of
A couple of them I
death
know.
metal band members don't believe in it. Like
Yeah.
only the crazy teenagers will believe in it, or whatever the case.
Mm-hmm.
But historically speaking, Baal,
Mm-hmm.
we're talking Moloch. There's a lot of biblical demons that were worshipped and sacrifices were made to them. And perhaps they are to this day. Who knows?
Right.
Roger Morneau said there are sacrifices made to Lucifer.
Well, look at Bohemian
Modern
Grove.
times.
Look at Bohemian Grove. We know that exists. We absolutely know that exists right in California. It's just one example of, the elites going into the woods and having a camp, but also that's where we know deals are made there. We know people already know who's going to be the next president 4 years down the line, 8 years down the line. Some people say they're thinking terms and terms ahead. And you know why they're thinking in the future so much is because I think that you're right. There is something about demons knowing a little bit into the future. They can't see like the long-term thing. But they can see like maybe a little bit, and they can like give you little hints about what's that through dreams, I think sometimes too.
Yeah.
And then you'll be like, oh my God, that was in a dream. We call that deja vu, I think. But anyway, we do know that there are these societies. On that guy that you mentioned with the E, he was connected very much to Harvard University. And in fact, the first article that I did for a scholarly journal when I was, it was 20 years ago today. Not today, this year. Was with Noam Chomsky, who was a linguist, linguistic philosopher, a genius scientist from MIT, and really like I loved him, and like he is a genius. Like I met him many times. He's like Yoda. He's like a little tiny Jewish guy, humble as can be, never accepted. When you invite somebody to speak, you give them an honorarium from the university, which means you give them a fee. You give them like $5,000, whatever the speaking fee is, and he would always say, take that money and give it to a local homeless shelter, a donation, with every speaking event he did, which were major ones. And he did them around the world, and he protected the poor people in Latin America. He was like the only voice for many years of any intellectual that would stand up for those people. Anyway, he was in the emails released. A lot of people were in those stupid emails. You're gonna find a lot of references to people that that idiot mentions. You know, doesn't mean that they were best friend. Like Gnome even addressed it, like, and said, yeah, he wasn't that smart. He was basically he was funding a lot of startups in Cambridge. That's it. You know, he was just one guy.
Mhm.
And that's also the scary part, John, is that that guy with the E is one guy out of a million. You
Mhm.
know, there's a lot of those type of guys around the whole world, and they're doing something they'll never be known. And so I think the E guy is taking all the fall and blame.
Yeah,
Meanwhile,
most definitely. Too bad
it's
1,000 people aren't getting arrested associated with him, but I just think he was too successful in evil.
yeah,
And anyone that's successful with evil, possibly, most likely is connected with the big
yeah.
E, the
Well,
big L, the big S. And then there's a video of him saying he's scared of the devil. Well, good luck because he's living with him the rest of eternity.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
He's most
Well,
likely the dude is an atheist, and that doesn't
he is.
surprise
He
me.
said there was a war. He wanted to wage a war on Catholicism, and the Vatican supposedly. That's what I didn't really read too much into this, but you can read into it and check it out. Pope Francis, um, the secret Vatican police did like a little write up about it and like recommended to the U.S. intelligence agencies that they look into this guy. You know, because he wanted to live at the Vatican at one point. Just like it's almost like that sick, twisted thing that the other guy, Jimmy Savile, would do. Like he would live at the hospitals and stuff. It's like that kind of twisted evil where you actually are at the place where you do the crime, and no one knows, no one suspects a thing. I'm playing everybody like a puppet. They're all fools. They don't suspect a thing. But it's like that catches up with you. That doesn't like pacts. The thing about demonic pacts, I think, is they don't last forever, and the price is your soul. And like in the short term, you might think it's great, but guess what? That gets, what's that compared to eternity? These people don't believe in eternity. They don't believe in the afterlife. They don't believe in, they think materialism is everything. It's
Mhm.
very fascinating. It opens up a lot of questions. And I think, but I do also think there are people that, like, I was thinking about you, John, because you're a fan of Corey Feldman, and people make fun
Yeah.
of him. But he did an interview with somebody. I don't know who he
Mhm.
did this interview with, but it was they did say something like, he said something like, he's like, and why do people want to see the files anyway? He's like, is it because they're gonna stop it? They're gonna stop people from doing this anymore. They're gonna put an end to this, or do they just want the tea? Do they just really want to see who's who and who's what? Do they just want the tea? Do they just want to know? And that's a good point.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that are just like, look who's in it. Oh, look
Yeah.
at this. Look at it. It's
You
almost like,
make a good point. Yeah, I
isn't
have
it?
a follower and a fan of my channel who says, "Why are you so obsessed with Corey Feldman?" First of all, I'm
Yeah,
just a fan of his
you're not
acting.
obsessed with
I'm a
Corey
fan of his movies
Feldman.
and his acting. That's it. So this person's trying to
He's
say,
that's projection, by the way.
"Are you abused just like Corey Feldman?" No. For the record, I've never been abused like Corey Feldman in any way, shape, or form. I just have empathy and sympathy, maybe something you find as a foreign concept. But
I almost spit out my water. I
it's
almost spit
okay
my
to have
water out.
empathy and sympathy for someone like Corey Feldman because he's literally a victim. He's not going to lie. He was a child actor and he was targeted by pieces of crap.
So
And
this guy,
I,
our fan, your fan,
I never
asked,
knew it. Watching his movies in the 80s and 90s, I never knew anything was happening to him. I only found out as he revealed it as an adult.
I know
And
that I know the reason
I
why
just felt
you
bad. I felt bad for him, but I'm
I
still a fan of him. And he's literally not guilty of any of those evil atrocities
no,
that were perpetrated against him. And he's
no,
right.
no.
He's right.
But
No one
but
has been
you
told
had you
about.
that doesn't mean you were
I know.
abused.
It,
Like,
it reminds me of some dude that interviewed me
some
twice.
people are
This,
so
this
stupid.
this is a separate guy, but who knows? Maybe
Sorry.
anonymously it might be the same guy. But this one guy interviewed me twice, and if he asks me a third time, I'm going to say I'm good. I
Yeah.
don't think so, dude. I already gave you 2 interviews.
Mm.
But this one guy interviewed me twice, and I don't think he released the second interview. To be
Really? I
honest,
don't like that.
to be honest, even the first interview, I'm not sure is up. But I understand, if I don't have
That's
access
happened to
to it.
people we know and people
But
that I'm not going to say their name, but
but
you
this
would know.
guy is such an atheist, and I can't remember his name, but he interviewed me twice. He's such an atheist that he said your spiritual encounters must be simply Pan's Labyrinth, where it's just a traumatic event
Oh,
where
come
it's
on.
just
Oh, all
what's
right.
that movie? What's that movie?
Pan's Labyrinth. I mean,
There's another Pan's Labyrinth. Pan's
where they
Labyrinth. Pan's Labyrinth is just a
C.S.
ripoff.
Lewis, Lion Witch in the Wardrobe is that
It's
too.
just a ripoff of another movie. What's that movie called? What's that book called? It's called.
I don't know.
It's something
There's
about
many
monsters.
books like that. There's
Something
many books
about monsters.
where the monsters lay or whatever, or where the monsters are. Not that. I don't know. There's many things that deal with death and suffering and fairyland as an escape from that. And I
It's
wonder if that book
called.
you got is. You got to get to that book
Okay.
too.
Okay.
He found it. Escape to Fairyland by W.D. de Lawrence
Uh,
of
I,
Arabia,
I think it's
signed by.
where the wild things are.
Yeah, I
It's
told
where
you.
the wild
Eric
things
Kirk.
are is the original Pan's Labyrinth. Where
The
the wild things
museum
are is
is.
the original source to this. The
Is it?
kid is traumatized,
Makes
so he
sense.
creates a fantasy where there's a bunch of monsters
I
talking
love
to
that
him,
book.
and he's dancing with these monsters. Well,
Yeah.
first of all, I never had any traumatic events in my life, period,
Right.
ever. So I think to an extent, the reason
Everyone
negative
has.
entities bothered me so much is because I never was bothered and
Right.
traumatized. I never had any Corey Feldman-esque experiences in my
Yeah,
whole
me
life,
either.
ever.
Yeah, but so it was like kind of attractive
So
to you,
almost like, I mean, there
like a
might be a
magnet.
yin and yang scenario of negative entities and positive entities
Yeah,
having a
sure.
scale of, here's some kid in Africa, here's some kid in China, here's some kid in India, and they have horrible atrocities happening to them. Oh,
Who
here's some
knows?
kid in America where nothing happened to him at all, and he's
Right. Who knows? I
made in
mean,
the shade and he's happy. Well, let's give him some trauma because it's a little uneven. So
mm,
that's one of my theories as why I was so
mm,
harassed by negative entities.
that's
Perhaps
interesting.
because nothing else happened to me.
They
That's
want to
just
balance.
to balance the universe on some karmic scale. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
a theory because nothing other. At one time, someone said, "I know people bothered you." Well, actually, people didn't bother me. These are non-people. They're negative
People,
spirit entities. These are non-human beings. They might as well be non-human intelligences. You might as well consider them aliens because they don't have physical bodies. The
yeah.
the people that bothered me are and it sounds so crazy and so out there,
The landlady,
but
maybe.
I have evidence on camera of them existing with Ghost
Yeah.
Investigating.
No,
And
you can't
they can
listen to.
deny all the footage, but I literally have 50 hours footage of negative entities talking back and
Yeah,
communicating.
you have way
Uh,
more evidence I've ever than anybody. I mean, it's there if you want. It's
so
a you can't convince people that won't be
you
like
can't convince people that are already dead set in their mind
they're
that
already convinced. Exactly.
they're
Right.
convinced the afterlife doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And I just
Oh
really
no.
want to see their face when I'm there and they're there. So this isn't any threat. This is literally I'm in the afterlife, they're in the afterlife, and I could say,
Told you. Yeah.
I knew this existed. I knew
Mm.
this realm existed. You didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll welcome them and I'll say,
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you can come
maybe you
in.
can learn and catch up
Yeah.
where the spiritual people knew
Right.
about this before they
Go
got
try again. Try again as a frog. Yeah.
here. But you did want to talk about, you said something about clowns.
I was gonna see if we could go
And
there.
it reminded me of this all color Sam
And I wanted to
1973
go there.
incident, I believe it was 1973.
All right. So let me explain it very quickly. And I want you to tell us the All Colors Sam, because All Colors Sam, which I only read last night or listened to last night, I listened to about 3 hours of this story and the history and everything. It is the freakiest, and it's scared. It's very scary. Story of this entity. Now, the Nephilim clown thing. About 5 months ago, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. Is that a channel?
Well, no, it's just like it is. There's a guy that has a channel called Nephilim Clowns. I'm not promoting
You got to
it.
understand that's like a specific coining of words I've never heard the combo of ever.
It is.
It's like saying purple dragon spot. It's like
right.
you're putting words that aren't normally together ever. So
but,
what it is to me is almost an advertisement to a website. I'm just saying.
It does sound like that, doesn't it? Yeah, no, I think you're right, because there is like a clever marketing grift branding going on with this guy, the guy that has a YouTube channel. But somebody mentioned Nephilim Clowns at least a year or two ago, like a long time ago, and I had thought about when you had done the creepy clown videos. I was thinking, oh, and rereading it and the nature of Pennywise and Stephen King, and thinking about why are clowns so like mysteriously scary, And so this guy, and I did come to the conclusion, they might be demons, or they might be representative of, like, the Joker. Like, I mean, he's representative of the trickster spirit archetype, right? So this guy comes along and he puts these two things together, clown and he adds Nephilim. So
doesn't even logically connect.
This is how he connects it, because fallen angels are called the Nephilim. Since the fallen angels are Nephilim, clowns are demonic trickster spirits. They are fallen angels, so they are Nephilim. Clowns, and they are behind, absolutely, to this person's, I forget the guy's name, he's from New Zealand. I haven't watched many of his videos. He is very well spoken. His YouTube is extremely well organized. Not like extremely well organized, but like he knows what he's doing. Like, in terms of, like, he's got the Christian audience, he's got the conspiracy audience, he's got the coast to coast audience, he's got all these different he can live a life of going on interviews, going to conferences, writing books on topics, and when you get down to it, he's just explaining things that people have already explained about the trickster spirits, about demons, about Nephilim, about this and that. So, but he just connects it with a photo of, like, Pennywise, or like a photo of, like, another clown. And he has some kind of interesting work on, like, I don't know, some of the things he says is right. Like, and interesting to me, like, the role of the jester in the court, for example, was the only person who could criticize the king. And you have Falstaff and, like, Shakespeare, who is a jester who can speak to the king. Like, it is like a noble position in royalty. And in fact, it goes to the Freemason and the Shriners. They have the Royal Society of the Jesters, which is like the ultimate level of Freemasonry kind and stuff like that. Very hard to get into, supposedly. And so there is like, it is interesting, but this guy, like, thinks that he came up with everything, and, like, it doesn't cite a source. It's like he came up with it, and, like, but he's so good at, like, it's obviously a grift to me. It's like he doesn't even believe in it. It's like none of it's his. He doesn't really believe it, but it's a catchy thing. It's like a catchphrase. Nephilim clown, like you said, it's like two things that your mind goes, huh? And that's what he wants. He wants you to go, huh? Because once you go, huh? Just like, your inquisitive mind, just like Eve went, huh? And was curious, and the cat was curious, all of a sudden that thought can enter you. And then you think, Nephilim clown, well, maybe it's not so stupid. And then he's got you. You know what I mean? But it is stupid. It's all been said before, my opinion. No disrespect to the guy who has the channel. I think he seems like a nice guy. I wish them all the best, but I just don't. I don't think. I don't see anything original. What are your thoughts on this? As a Nephilim clown yourself.
I already made multiple videos on clowns associated with the devil. The devil loves the Joker. The devil loves clowns. The devil loves jesters. And a lot of his little minions are little mischievous little jokers and clowns. And I'm sure any ghost investigator who has done it longer than 10 seconds has found out that sarcasm is a normal response you get from negative entities. If you
Absolutely.
haven't gotten a sarcastic response from a negative entity, you've already told me you've never ghost investigated longer than 10 seconds in your life, or more than 10 days, more than 10 weeks, more than 10 months, more than 10 years. Because if you've investigated 10 months or 10 years, you would have already gotten 100 plus, if not 1,000 plus sarcastic responses from spirits. I would say we're talking in the realm of 75% of the responses I've ever received in the past 10 years straight from spirits in general. I don't know anything about the spirits, but I know that 75% of the time the responses are sarcastic.
Mm-hmm.
If you're dead for 1,000 years and you're maybe dead for 500 years, maybe 150 years, and you're waiting to contact humanity, and some dude with a ghost hunting device for the first time in your lifetime in that spot, in that place, in that space, in that square inch communicates and you can send a message, are you going to send something sarcastic? No, you're not. Only a negative entity is going to be so jaded and so hysterically demonic and so full of mischief that they're going to send a sarcastic response. Only a negative entity would have any motivation to be as sarcastic as possible, because a regular human being ghost is going to be like, I'm dead, I died here, here's my bones, here's my killer, whatever the case. A human might say, you know, there's an afterlife, it's peaceful, it's beautiful, or there's an afterlife, it's horrible, it's miserable, I'm trapped, whatever the case. They're not going to be sarcastic back to back. You know what I mean?
Right.
But negative entities are sarcastic back to back.
Oh, cool.
I've contacted spirits not on a level of like a necromancer, but on a level of, is anyone here? And the spirit will be like,
sarcastic.
I mean, it's hard for me to describe. I would literally have to play my EVP clips. I don't want to misquote the spirits, but the spirits would say stuff like, what? I guess I'm here. I mean,
no way.
The responses are so dumb. Like the responses, I mean, I guess the most recent response of sarcasm was, I already mentioned this, but it's the most recent that happened. I was using the hot and cold device for the first time from Gary Galka, and it's a secondary feature. It's not even the main feature on this spirit box. A secondary feature on the spirit box is a hot and cold, blue for cold, red for hot. And it's not that it wasn't working. It was that the spirit was playing with it for the first time. The spirit literally had the capacity and ability to go inside the device and just touch the hot and touch the cold. How do I know that? Because he was talking during the process. And the spirit said, neat. I said, wow, it can go hot.
Yeah.
It can go hot and it can go cold. And the spirit's like, neat. It almost like in some kind of Norm Macdonald cadence,
right.
like, neat. Like just laughed. Like it didn't give a crap. Like it kind of made fun of my ability to even do anything. But I mean, it acknowledged it was a neat feature on a device, but it kind of acted like, and you can't get too much information just from neat, but just the way it said it kind of in a sarcastic way, you know.
Yeah, this is sarcasm.
But I can go back 50 times on 50 different investigations. I would get similar responses. Is anyone here? What's going on?
So they mislead, and do you find that they misdirect as well, like who they are? Like I found that like
they kind of go out of their way to
Well, can I just say when I did the Ouija
to
board,
be as not clear as possible. They go above and
to be
beyond
vague,
to be vague, and they're being vague if it happens 500 times in a row.
but like they pretend to be other people too, right? So like so that's mischievous too, or like at
Yeah.
least some kind of form, not sarcasm, but it's like it's some form of like mischief and like, haha, it's a joke, like So there is like, yeah, like I said, like there's this truth to the clown thing, to the jester,
Yeah.
sarcastic,
Well,
demonic spirit, but
but
yeah.
I want to talk about the Sandown clown a little bit.
Oh yeah, now yeah, please
So
talk
that's one
about
of the
please.
names of this encounter. It's
Please,
called
this
it's
is
called
amazing.
it's called All Colors Sam.
All
It
colors Sam.
happened in England in 1973.
This
It's
is
the reason I never heard of it until maybe 5 years ago is because it's like almost exclusively in the UFO um, genre. You know how in the ghost hunting genre we got ghost hunting stories that are circulated and kind of strictly in the ghost hunting, and then the UFO crowd, UFO community, it's only in there. Well, this is clearly a ghost story that somehow has been co-opted and only held by the UFO community. And I didn't hear about it because it's kind of an obscure story, but it's been repeated 1,000 times on 1,000 YouTube channels. So you probably are familiar with it. You probably heard of it, but I consider it very interesting and it does deserve some research. It's called All Colors Sam, also known as Sandown Clown. So two kids were walking around near Lake Common, and I guess they heard a siren-like sound, and so they followed the sound and they saw a metal hut, like a two-story metal hut. And at the metal hut, they saw a clown-like creature. And it had a microphone, it had a weird suit with squares and triangles, it had a face with triangle eyes, kind of like a clown mask and kind of like a clown hat, but it also kind of looked like an alien hat. And so the UFO crowd immediately interpreted it as an alien, and the the two-story hut is automatically a UFO, even though it wasn't a UFO. It was a building. It was just a metal building, but that metal building apparently disappeared when the kids mentioned the story and people went back to try to find it.
right.
So this entity, um, I guess it ate a berry in front of the kids
Mm,
by putting the berry through its ear, and then the berry came out of its eye, and then it put it in its mouth.
yeah.
And
But
when,
also remember how it told how it pointed at the pictures to tell I am all colors Sam, and it had
yeah,
it. So this little girl met this. This is what I read. This little
mhm,
girl met this entity standing out. This very 7 foot tall entity standing outside a metal hut, like you said. I didn't know that about the UFO, but um, from a distance, she could hear him with a megaphone
mhm,
as if it was right inside of her, like right. But then he was way over there, and and then she goes for whatever reason she goes over to him, and he can't communicate with words, and she says, "Who are you?" And he says, like that. And so, but then he can't communicate, so he had like a notebook, and he opens it up, and he points to different words through the pages, and he says, "I am all colors Sam," like that. And
mhm,
that is freaky, man.
yeah.
That is so keep going. Yeah.
So one of the kids asked if it was human, and he said no.
Right.
And when they asked if he was a ghost, and that's literally so first they asked if he's human, and then the second is an alien. The second is ghost. And when asked if he was a ghost, this entity said, "Well, not really, but I am in an odd sort of way."
Right.
And I read
That's right.
somewhere 5 years ago,
Ugh.
I read somewhere else that it
What does
said
that
it was
mean?
a spirit. And I'm looking now and I can't find it. It's almost been, I am a spirit has been
In an
scrubbed,
odd sort of way. That's just
but
such
I
a
am a ghost,
weird,
but in an odd sort of way.
in an odd sort of way.
Demons wouldn't consider
It's a
themselves
fairy
ghosts.
encounter. Yeah. It's very
Demons, demons technically aren't ghosts. Ghosts are human spirits. A
fairies,
demon
yeah.
is its own thing. Demon never was a human.
Mm,
And so a demon's going to look down on humans. Maybe they'll
interesting.
look up on humans, but mostly they're going to look down on us and they're not going to consider themselves humans. They've never had human bodies. They've never had human spirits. They're not ghosts. Ghosts are specifically human spirits.
I
They
think
are
so.
they are demon spirits. They're their own thing. They're almost
Yeah.
their own species in the spirit realm, you know?
Yeah. Well, angels are their own species too, and there's different species of even angels, supposedly.
But this
So,
entity, very freaky. It had a megaphone, it had a microphone, it had different things going on. I think,
yeah.
I think you can watch 100 YouTube videos on it. I probably watched 2 or 3 YouTube videos on it, and
Yeah,
it's
me too.
interesting. It's a very interesting story. I think there's a good chance it actually happened. I just think it was a negative entity, a demon, manifesting physically, and who knows, maybe actually incorporating some physical aspects of the universe. I mean,
Mm.
negative entities can possess a doll. You know, there are stories of demons possessing dolls,
Objects. Yeah.
demons literally talking out of the mouths of dolls.
Mm.
Earthquake Kelly is one of those scenarios.
Really? What is that?
Earthquake Kelly is like the seventh son of a seventh son, or
Oh
something
wow,
to that
really?
effect. And he said because he was the seventh of a seventh, he was primed and ready to go to be a voodoo priest.
Oh,
And
that guy. Yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
said, I don't want anything to do with voodoo. That's scary stuff. I want nothing to do with that. He said
Yeah.
he was taken into a closet and an entity with a huge green face, kind of like a Wizard of Oz scenario,
Mm.
promised him riches, fame, money if you just follow this voodoo path. He
Wow.
said, I ain't interested in that, dude. Peace out.
Yeah.
And he was just a good, honest guy that
Good.
didn't want to follow the negative path.
I've heard of Earthquake
It's not
Kelly.
always going to appear to people as a big green face in your closet.
No.
A lot of people, it's going to appear really subtle, and you're not going to know whether spirits exist or not, because the whole world is usually going to
Could
be invisible. You don't know if
it could
hell
be a
exists,
beautiful thing. It could be a
heaven
beautiful
exists.
woman. It could be, you know what I mean? Like who knows?
Yeah, it could be anything. I mean,
Yep.
I've seen temptations from celebrities mentioned in many different ways. But in
Right.
Earthquake Kelly's case, it was very blunt and in his face. And he said, I can't remember if it was his aunt or his grandmother or some relative. It could have been a stepmom. I can't remember who it was, but some voodoo priestess. He said the door was open, and you know that was like his caregiver at the time, or whatever the case. And so he's peeking through the door, and he said this voodoo priestess was talking to the doll, and that the doll's mouth was opening and talking back in
Yikes.
regular conversation.
Yikes.
He said the demon was possessing the doll,
Yeesh.
and the voodoo priestess was
Oof.
like, "So, you know, what are we gonna do?" And the doll's like, "You know, blah 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 blah." Just a regular conversation. I don't think he mentions the exact conversation that
Wow.
took place,
Oh my
but he
god.
said that
Hey.
this particular priestess, who he was related to or was his guardian at the time, he said one time he saw her on the street say the F word to a guy, and within 10 seconds that guy
Really?
within 10
Whoa.
seconds that guy dropped dead.
Hmm.
Within
Okay.
10 seconds. And he said that
That's a curse.
F word from her to him was
A curse.
accused the spirits to kill the guy, and
Right.
that was that powerful.
Wow.
And
Well, there's stories
he
like that,
freaked
you
out
know.
and scared of the voodoo aspect. And
Hmm.
while I can't understand the
Oh,
details of All Colors Sam having a 2-story metal building and being in a some type of clown robotic thing going on, mannequin. We don't know all the aspects, but I do believe the devil and his minions use prototypes on a regular basis.
Yeah.
How do they prototype? If you see some super bizarre scenario where they're incorporating some entity, it's not always going to be an alien from another planet. It's going to be them trying to trick mankind, and if it tricked you, then they succeeded. But I don't think it was a very successful scam and scheme because they never did it ever again. It's a one-time deal. It's a one-off. It's a prototype. It's a test. And if it works, if it's successful, then they'll do it over and over and over and over. I mean, that's just how, I think.
I think the images work that way,
Work.
like you said with Strieber, right? Like the Whitley Strieber. I think like that the image of the small mouth, no nose, big eyed, round head, uh, gray alien has become like. But that goes back to even Crowley, right? With Iwas and Lamb
Yeah,
and what he
with
saw,
Lamb.
right, and all that stuff. I wanted to touch on this before we go. I guess is that. Oh, I got it. Hold on. I think are we live on YouTube? I don't
Yeah,
know.
you pressed some live button at one point.
Hold on a second. Whatever. I can private it. Whatever. Leave it
Don't
for
worry about
now.
it. It's just only a small
No one's
segment.
even on there. All right, but did you see Peter Lavenda gave recently like a 4-hour interview to this guy Hannibal TV, and in this interview, this guy Hannibal TV, I don't know. Let's see. Let's check it out. Let me see. I'm going to try something. Okay. So he talks about. Remember, I talked about the curious connection between him and a curious Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino,
Mm-hmm.
who was one of the first. He was in the Church of Satan, but he was also in the military, and he was a lieutenant colonel and was highly regarded. He was like, he wrote many books, thought he was Indiana Jones, became, bought some land in Scotland, became a baron in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
Our friend Sam looked up to him quite a bit and actually interviewed him for their channel. So, but very interesting figures because he's married the occult with this with militaristic stuff. And like, have you heard of like Colonel Alexander, any of these people from the military that he worked with, like this guy Colonel Alexander? Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
he developed like a thing called mind war, which is basically every human being gives off an electromagnetic field. And religious cultures, of course, is according to Aquino, calls that your aura or your subtle energy body or whatever. There's your halo. There's different names for this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he says this exists, so why not take advantage of it? What we can do is we can blast your room, and you won't even hear it, with delta waves or alpha waves, or there's different wave functions.
Mm-hmm.
And it will change your mood. It will increase your heart rate. It will do this. It will make you all of a sudden antagonistic instead of cooperative, if under different waves and stuff like that. And he thought he would be able to solve all wars that way and stuff like that. So you could use these psionic weapons essentially and just have complete peace and basically control over the entire nation. Anyway, I always posited that Peter Lavenda and Aquino kind of work together or were working together in tandem in some way without actually meeting, maybe hearing of each other, knowing of each other. The revival of H.P. Lovecraft and the occult that we see with the Simon Necronomicon being published, and that we see in the Satanic Bible published by Anton LaVey, that has a Call of Cthulhu ritual in it, So all of a sudden you have this marriage. Well, in this interview, this guy asked him, and he said, Peter Lavenda reveals that Michael Aquino emailed him out of nowhere one time. And he doesn't give any context as to why. He said, "Oh, he just, he emailed me out of nowhere." Lavenda is one of these people that you think I drop names, you should see him, So he's just like, yeah, he said, why don't you come to Las Vegas with me? And it's a reunion. It's an annual reunion of intelligence officers. So these retired intelligence officers all have like a convention essentially, or a meetup every year in Vegas, which makes sense kind of. But and Lavenda was all around them, and he said they treated him like a hero. They were taking photos with him. They were hanging out with him. He was just, and here he is, the guy with the eyebrows like this, and just like his whole, satanic garb and black thing, and like Temple of Set, this and that, but to them, he was just like another intelligence officer. But there's a part where Lavenda goes, and everybody there was other, intelligence officers. Well, except me, I guess. It's like, But I think Lavenda, but in that interview, they definitely talk. He goes through the whole history, his history that he wants you to know about the publication of the Simon Necronomicon, the this, and what he thinks about aliens, what he thinks UFOs are, all stuff. It's worth it. But I thought that was interesting because
that is interesting. Yeah,
it further shows that I was correct in that Peter Lavenda and Aquino were actually in correspondence, and not only were they in correspondence and work together and have a lot in common, they actually did meet up and go to a party in Vegas for intelligence officers. That's interesting to me. So that's the update on that.
Wow, that's cool. That reminds me of just the Pentagon and the UFO community talking trash about the Pentagon employees and the intelligence agency members that believe that these non-human intelligences are evil spirits, negative entities.
Right.
And the UFO community is specifically saying they're morons. They're obviously aliens from other planets. They're not demons. Well, here's a news flash. Here's a spiritual news flash for the spiritually dead. The Pentagon employees who believe that these NHI are demons, those are the most intelligent people in the entire Pentagon.
Yep.
Those are the most spiritually intelligent and intellectually intelligent, and just intelligent on a general basis. Their IQs are 10 times higher than those that don't understand, don't believe, and don't comprehend that concept, let alone believe it or understand it.
It's really interesting.
NHI are negative entities, and they're really on this planet. They're not on another planet. Right. It's not that there aren't intelligences and civilizations on other planets. There are intelligences and civilizations on other planets. I'm not some Bible Belt
provincial
guy that thinks the Earth is going to cease existing.
Oh yeah, I got to talk about
a couple hundred years.
Yeah, flat Earth was
I'm not a flat earther. I don't believe in any of this nonsense. Okay.
Did you, Roger Avery?
He went to the moon. Stanley Kubrick didn't film it. My dad actually helped design the lunar lander.
Does he have like cool memorabilia? I bet he does. I bet he has like cool stuff.
My dad's in his, I'm bad at dates and birthdays and this and that, but my dad is in his late 70s or early 80s. He's very old. My dad is very, very up there in age. Okay, I'm bad with dates. I'm bad with numbers and ages. But my dad is still alive, and he was a draftsman, and he has a mechanical master's degree and an electrical master's degree in engineering, 2 engineering master's degrees from Caltech.
Wow.
And I thought it was UCLA.
Best school.
I thought it was UCLA because at one point he told me
that's a good school too. But Caltech.
My dad said he went to UCLA, and I assumed he graduated from UCLA, but he must have transferred from UCLA to Caltech. So my dad got these master's degrees from Caltech.
He probably knew Richard Feynman and stuff like that.
Because last time I saw him, he said Caltech.
That's cool.
And
don't have a dad like that.
I said, you drafted the lunar lander. He said, yeah, I also drafted blueprints for the space. I don't know if you heard of it. It's called the space shuttle. And I said, what the freak? You never told me you
What?
worked on the space
He
shuttle?
couldn't. He couldn't tell you though, right? Like he
Well,
couldn't.
he could have. He
No, but
worked. My dad has worked on so many things that
right.
the
Jeez.
space shuttle is just another one of them.
Imagine
But
that.
but Stanley Kubrick
What an interesting
didn't
guy.
he didn't do what my dad did. My dad actually designed the thing,
Right.
and
Got there. Right.
probably with a team of 29 other engineers.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
my dad's not the only engineer that worked on these
No,
plans, but my dad is one of the key members who did work on these
that's
plans.
pretty
He
cool.
was paid money, and because of that money, he was able to buy a house. And because of that house and money, he's able to buy a car. And because of that house and money and car, he's able to get married. If the house and money and car get married, he's able to have kids. And I wouldn't have been born.
Right. Exactly.
If we didn't land on the moon, I wouldn't have been born.
Yeah.
So if we didn't land on the moon based on engineers working on the plans, I wouldn't exist.
It's too
So
bad
when
when
I
I
hear the
hear that.
conspiracy theory
I know.
theorists say, "Oh, Stanley Kubrick filmed it," well, if Stanley Kubrick filmed it, how do I exist? How am I here? You know what I'm saying? So
Well, I mean, you two can exist. That can.
two can
He
exist,
could have.
but
He
there is
could
no
have
backup
filmed
video.
something.
There is no backup video.
There are ways.
And on the moon,
Do you
it
know
is
what
authentic footage.
Do you?
I'm open to interpretation of there being some fake stills here and there. I have seen the blow up, but here's a huge A on the rock. Why is there an A on the freaking moon rock?
Yeah, there are some weird things going
So
on.
there's definitely some weird things here and there, but we did land.
I believe that too. And,
Buzz Aldrin said that not only did Neil Armstrong not say the famous quote we thought he said, he didn't say, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Buzz Aldrin said on Art Bell back in, I can't remember the exact time frame. It could have been
something like Hail Osiris.
It could have been 2001. It could have been 2002, 2003 or 4. It was one of the last years Art hosted Coast to Coast AM. Buzz was live, and I was listening live. I was listening on my radio. Buzz Aldrin said to Art Bell, he said, most people don't know this, but I was listening with an earpiece in my spacesuit. So I got a really crystal clear version of what Neil said. And back on Earth, they didn't get a crystal clear version. They got a really blurry, muffled version. Right. He didn't say that's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Buzz said that Neil said that's one small step for man, one giant leap for man.
Oh, interesting.
And he's exhaling when he says man the second time. So he literally said that's one small step for man, one giant leap for man. That's it. Right. That's the real quote that he heard in his earpiece while on the moon. And he said when he's exhaling at the last man.
Right.
It sounds with the cruddy quality.
That makes sense. Yeah, it does.
It sounds like mankind, but it's
you're right.
Mankind. It's just man-made. And when Neil saw it in the newspapers, misquoted, Buzz said, "Hey," and he said Neil said to Buzz, he said, "Hey, it sounds better. It sounds better. I'm not going to correct them. It sounds cooler. It sounds better."
It does. He's right.
But also, Buzz Aldrin said, as they're lifting off the lunar surface in the lunar lander, partially designed by my dad.
Wow.
They're lifting up, and yes, there's an automatic camera, and the camera was designed to follow. And a lot of these conspiracy nut jobs are like, how did the camera pan?
Right.
And it's designed to follow. It's literally engineered and designed to follow when it goes up.
Right.
They had the technology back then. It was designed to do that. And this is what Buzz saw out the window. So the rockets shoot up, and out the window, Buzz sees the American flag fall over onto the ground, and it fell. And he said, "We planted the flag too close."
I heard something about that.
He said, "We planted it too close to the rockets." And the extreme pressure of the rockets, and there's basically not much of an atmosphere, it just blew the flag over. And right now the flag is sitting on the ground. It immediately fell over. So
but they picked it up, right?
Details like that It's not fake. It actually happened. Let's
Yeah.
go back and put the flag back up, or whatever the
No,
case.
Superman did that. Remember in one of the movies, he went to the moon and actually took it. And Christopher Reeve, Superman, flew to the moon, picked it up, and put it back up.
Well, I don't know if that detail
While
is
a Russian,
common
I think,
knowledge.
was a Russian was like on the moon and looked over, and he was like,
Okay.
I don't know, maybe I'm remembering
Well,
that
I don't know if
completely
that
wrong.
detail is even common knowledge.
Hey, we got some
I heard
comments.
that flag detail. I mean, it could be an old detail. I mean, he might have mentioned it during one of the news
Oh
news
shit,
conferences back in 1969, 1970. Who knows,
it's
you know?
true.
But I did. I probably heard about it
Oh,
10 years
I
ago, 15, 20 years ago. I don't know.
messed up my
Could
beautiful
have even been in
webcam.
the same Art Bell interview.
Yeah, man, there's no one like Art Bell. There's just it's just too
But
bad. Like we
I don't
miss somebody like
understand why
that.
people think I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Do
We're
people
talking
think
like
that?
all day and all night, 365 days, 7 days a week. People say, "Oh, did you hear about the JFK grassy knoll?" I'm like, dude,
You do like dark journalists, though, don't you?
I don't care.
You don't. You don't like JFK or anything like that.
To be honest, I haven't watched a single dark journalist thing in my life. I know he follows
He's
me on
all right.
Twitter,
He
and I've seen
does.
a couple of his tweets.
He used to come
And
around this channel.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to lie. I mean, he's an interesting guy, and I wouldn't mind having him on the podcast.
Yeah.
He follows me, and I follow him. I think he
Yeah.
only follows me because my John Teeter thing.
Well,
He
yeah.
thinks I'm
And
interesting
me.
because of the John Teeter thing. That's possibly the only reason he follows me.
Yeah.
But
You don't have the course.
I mean, he'll post mega cliche stuff like,
Yeah.
"Here's Trump's dad
Yeah.
getting Nikola Tesla's papers."
Yeah.
Like,
Right. The fact that he always
could it
has
be
some
any more
hot girl.
cliche than that? I
Yeah.
could literally care less about Trump's dad getting
Well,
access to Nikola Tesla's papers. That's mega common knowledge. It was his
right.
job to do it. He was just
Well, he's been.
paid. He was paid to do a job.
Yeah.
He didn't scurry them away and build a time machine for his son. I mean,
Dark journalists have been talking about this for 4 years, 5 years now. Like it's like he just did you know? It's like okay, and before that it was Bimini in Bermuda and how Cuba is like actually Atlantis, and he would bring on Gigi Young who would confirm it through her readings of Edgar Casey. It got really
it's
bizarre.
just to a certain extent, if you follow down the rabbit hole of lies, you eventually believe the Earth is flat. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
So there's that guy. There's
I don't
that
believe
director.
in nonsense. I don't believe in lies. I don't believe in BS. I believe
I
there's
was
such thing as a definite truth, and there's such thing as a definite lie. And there's the
objectively.
father of all lies. His name is the devil.
Absolutely.
That's just one of his titles. He has 1,000 different titles, but
That's true.
a lot of these conspiracy people, they don't believe in lies. They don't believe in truth. They're just wishy-washy. Reality isn't real. We're living in a matrix. So
That's right.
Elon Musk
Simulation
said
theory.
we live in a simulation.
Could be anything.
We don't live in a simulation. We live in a definite reality that's
that doesn't have blue aliens. Yeah.
You could say it's on a computer of an alien's computer, but it's not. We're not NPCs.
Yeah, there are some people in the chat, John. I don't know if you want. Should I talk? Let's see who we got. Okay, there's a guy named it's Dudu Von Hoo who comes around. I do gaming streams sometimes, and I see Dudu around, and we talk. Nice guy, and he says Nephilim clowns, and I think he's familiar, or she, I don't know, is familiar with the concept. And then we have Lunar Sparkles, who I think is Tina from a long time ago. I've known her way back. Remember that guy Jimmy Church that we hated? I think I met her along that way. And she says, "Is this a replay?" No, it's not a replay. I kind of gave up on ufology. Thank goodness. And that's a good thing. And the ancient alien crowd. Good. Stick with another crowd is my opinion. I still share your time traveler video every once and so often. I don't have a time traveler video, but I think you're referring to John. John, you have that time travel? Which one? I guess John Teeter. I don't know what you're referring to.
Could be John Teeter.
Could be. She says literary professors. Okay. Are you going to the Warfield tonight? BLS. That's the Warfield Auditorium, and I think San Francisco. She's talking about. I have no idea. But no, I'm not. Are the mountain tourists gonna orbit 10 days? This is a replay. The Tuscan Gem Show this week. There's a Tucson. There's a
Yeah,
Tucson.
I'm in California right now, but the Tucson Jump Show is pretty cool. I
You know what
recommend
that is?
it every year. It's one of the biggest jump shows in the world.
Oh wow.
Like one time I bought a hand axe from like the Neolithic era, and I just bought it for like $10.
Okay.
And then you go online and it's like $500 online,
What?
and you can get it for $10. How can you get $500 rock for
Jeez.
$10? Well, a lot of these individuals, they have warehouses, and at this point, the Tucson Gem Show is so old, they'll have their own storage unit. So it's too heavy. They have it shipped into Tucson, right? All these rocks and gems and minerals.
Right.
And if they didn't sell it one year, it just piles up, and they have a huge storage unit with like $1 million of rocks, and they're willing to sell it for dirt cheap. It's the place that I got my piece of moldavite. Remember that huge piece of
Oh,
moldavite?
that thing is
I got a
awesome.
huge pice of moldavite
Yeah.
this big.
That's where you got it?
I think the price tag was $200.
How much did you get it for?
I got it for like $40
That thing is awesome.
because I bought it on like the second to last day of the gem show, and the guy was packing up, and he was just like, "Okay, I mean, I'll take the deal."
That's so cool.
You can haggle pretty good. You can haggle pretty good,
Yeah.
but you
it
can
seems
also
like
get burned. One time I
Yeah.
bought a big crystal like this big,
Whoa.
a piece of crystal from a Chinese seller. No offense intended. My grandfather's Chinese. So the
Yeah.
Chinese are amazing people and everything.
Yeah.
But this particular seller was selling smelt crystal. Smelt
Different.
crystal means they grab a bunch of crystal garbage chunks and they just melt it down into a perfect crystal shape.
Oh wow.
And sell it on the preface that it's a natural, huge crystal.
Right.
The value is a million times different. A
Right.
smelt piece of crystal is worth the same as
I have a smelt. Yeah.
is the same as a piece of glass.
Yeah. I have a
A
Himalayan.
piece of natural crystal quartz. Like here's a quartz crystal. Here's just a tiny one.
That's a real one.
But here's a real tiny one. I bought this at the gem show I bought this for literally 25 cents. You can get them dirt cheap, nothing. And then you go to a crystal shop, and this is $17. You know what I mean?
How do you know all this about gems? This is crazy.
But I bought a crystal similar to this, but this big, like a huge 3-foot.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I bought it for like $50, thinking it's worth a lot, only to find out it's smelt and it's worth nothing.
Wow.
So you got to research. You got to make sure you don't
But that moldavite is interesting, and I like stuff like that. Like we find some interesting rocks on the beach when I go sailing for what I do for work, and you hold up. What we always do is you hold up the whatever you find to the sun, so you can see how translucent it is. Mm-hmm. And like the moldavite is like very dark, but when you hold it up to the light or the sun, mm-hmm. or I'm guessing it's like a light green. It's not even like a lime green. It's like a darkish. It's melted. Such a cool thing, man.
It's just melted sand. All it is melted sand, but it's specifically melted sand from a specific meteorite in Russia.
Right.
Near an area called Moldavite. Like that's in that area. That's why it's called Moldavite. It's from cool. A Moldavitian area, whatever it's called.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's a pretty rare meteorite.
You did a whole video on that too.
It's like it's kind of like a tektite. I can't remember the exact word, but there's very common tektites, and then there's the rare Moldavite. It's a similar, just glass, but it's meteorite glass, so it's pretty specific,
Interesting. All right, so Lunar says she keeps talking. I watched this indie movie on Tubi. The aliens brought back the disc thing as proof. I don't know what that means. Daniel and the JFK files, as she's talking about dark journalists or Atlantis. She also says these persons don't have journals from our parents. And then me love you long time, she says. Thank you. Beyond the 7 Black Label Society, that's a cool band with Zach Wild, she says. And then my Shasta Luminarian crystal. So it's, lunar sparkles is a crystal. Do you believe in the like healing power of them, or like anything spiritual about crystals? Do you think? I think so. I think there's something.
Nah, I don't think they can do jack squat except
No.
for if you press on them, they create a spark, and that's
Well, but
there's
they're
a
in
tiny quartz
computers and stuff.
crystal in every lighter. Every lighter that you light has a tiny
Really?
quartz crystal in it, and so they do have some cool electricity abilities.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like they're in like computers. They're like it's almost like modern society might not exist without it. Like with the finding out the power of like conductivity through crystals. Like, but and again with Superman, like his whole entire Antarctica, what was it, Fortress of Solitude, is all
Hmm.
these like moldavite crystals, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I would like to visit that Mexico cave with those huge crystals. Have you seen that quartz
Oh, I
cave in
don't know,
Mexico?
but that's where they are,
You have
huh?
to drain water out of it before you enter. And you
Oh,
have to wear a suit, and like the oxygen levels are probably low.
yeah, I know people that
Super
I know a
dangerous,
person
and
that.
they even rented it for a music video, so you can gain access to it.
Whoa,
The location's top secret because there's like a billion. I mean, whatever you want
right?
to consider it, $1 billion worth of crystals. It's
Yeah,
literally Journey to the Center of the Earth. Someone found some crystal cave. It's pretty phenomenal. I'd
I
like to
remember my
check it
friend
out.
Dustin had someplace in Brazil, and he had a photo. I could find it, and it's him like this, and he has like a flashlight on his head. He had to go, like you say, into a cave, into some bizarre place, hiking in the middle of nowhere in Brazil in the jungle, and he came out with like all these like those crystals that if you crack them, you open them, they're like these really nice. Yeah,
Geodes.
he just had geodes. Thank you. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah. So yeah, I guess we should probably maybe get going soon.
Yeah, we got to get
Um,
going. I got to
but I
work
just
tomorrow.
me too. Well, I have to do stuff, but um, I'm on vacation kind of. But I wanted to bring up this book before we go, and we'll just take this real quick. I just want you to ask you, John. Have you ever heard of a guy named uh, Frederick Seaman? Frederick Seaman, in relation to John Lennon.
No.
Okay, so this is a bit of rock history trivia. I know Lunar Sparkles might like, some of the viewers might like history. This book, which I have a first edition of, and you can, I don't know, I think I looked it up the other day. It was like $40. I was like, really? But I got it at a used bookstore. It's called The Last Days of John Lennon. And this guy, The Last Days of John Lennon, it's a famous book because this guy was John Lennon's. Remember how John Lennon didn't record for like 5 years and just raised Sean from like 75 to 80? Well, Fred was, his mother was the nanny to Sean. And John needed like a guy friend, And so Yoko hired this guy, Frederick Seaman, to work and be John's like brother, basically. And there's all these, so he has all these rare photos and all these amazing stories of like, John in like Bermuda and like, very personal photos. Like he was his photographer. There's John Lennon, and I think that's Frederick Seaman actually. He kind of looked like John too. So it was a very interesting book, right? But he spills the beans. And what happened was, right? So John passes away. It's a huge thing. This guy goes to the Dakota and he steals all his guitars. He tries to make out with like all his guitars and he sells them immediately, this guy. And
Mhm.
then he says in the back of the book that he got beat up by Yoko, so like henchmen, like these mob guys beat him up in a garage and stuff. But some of the things he says are just like are pretty bad. But they might be true. But I mean, he did have all this access, and like I mean, he
So
is
what did he
there.
say?
So just like stuff like they would do drugs. They were still doing drugs, but they did have plans. There were some cool things like there's an episode where like this guy Frederick Seaman accidentally takes acid, didn't know, and he took it, and John calls him expecting him to like bring him his brand new 1980 Mercedes station wagon that up until that point they were driving like a 50, like an old like state clunky station wagon, and but he was so messed up on acid and he said that John telepathically kind of he knew that he's like, you sound weird, what's wrong with you, your mind is your oh you are you tripping, did you must be on acid, and he was like, he knew he was so they were really tight, and
Mhm.
but yeah, he just says like they were planning on divorcing, and stuff. It's just like kind of like gossipy stuff that I love
Yeah.
John Lennon, and I don't want to besmirch his name because some people have already done that. Like this guy Ray Coleman wrote a biography of Lennon,
Well,
but
I mean, he dated May Pang
right,
many years.
yeah,
So,
Ed Opperman
like Yoko didn't want a divorce,
Ed
but
Opperman
probably John
interviewed
did
her.
at that point.
Did you know Ed Opperman interviewed her? May Pang. Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, yeah. He's interviewed so many people. I know he interviewed you, but yeah. So like, yeah, there's I mean, there's like a little dark side to Lennon. Everybody knows it, but like, this guy actually really like stole instruments and stuff,
Well,
and
that's pretty
stole.
crappy. That's a crappy
Yeah,
thing to do.
Sean Lennon, in fact, like even said like, you disgraced and betrayed our family. Like, you were my friend. You were my babysitter. You were, you know what I mean. You were like my
Mhm.
uncle.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but
there's a couple types of people. He was just there for the money, cold hard cash.
it's sad. Well, maybe but like, but he wrote this book, and he tried to cash in on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so, but
half the
supposedly
money
he's
right
still
now.
alive.
Trying to make just milk more money.
Yeah. So I
Definitely,
think
That sounds like a druggy mindset. Druggies will do anything
kind
just
of
for
like
that
that.
drug money.
It's true. Yeah. So anyway, so but it is a good firsthand like account of
Mhm.
like the day to day, how he became even like in the orbit of the Lennons, how John Lennon's bed was like completely off limits, and even to Yoko,
Mhm.
like there was a part of his bed that was just his, and he had an old Civil War knife that Yoko had got him for his birthday that he
Mhm.
kept above his bed or at the feet of his bed to ward off evil spirits,
Mhm.
because you think about it, like he had a lot of people coming after him, and certainly
Mhm.
that's how he went, but I love John Lennon. He's amazing stuff, but I
Mhm.
wanted to end it on that note. And this is a return. John, any last words for our folks at Mr. Pibb or anybody? We want to thank Mr. Pibb again, of course.
Well, thanks, Mr. Pibb, for the free Mr. Pibb. I
Thank you,
appreciate
sir.
it.
Mr. Pibb, we
And,
love you. We
you
love,
know, I
love.
mean,
Mwah.
I am Dr. Pepper Dragon.
That's
Uh,
right.
so I got to have some
Mr. Pibb.
loyalty towards Dr. Pepper, but I do
Yeah.
like the new Mr. Pibb. Extra cherry in there. It's pretty good stuff. But, I am Dr. Pepper Dragon of the Ultima Dragons.
That's right.
And the Ultima Dragons is a very old club of Ultima fans.
This
And,
makes it is. Yeah. I've been playing
we
some old
have
video games.
probably the most famous dragon is Felicia Day. You
You
probably
think
know who
that's,
Felicia
oh,
Day.
I know. I think I know who she is. Yeah.
Felicia Day, her dragon name is Codex Dragon.
She was an Ultima Dragon.
She
Wow.
joined when she was 14 years old.
No way.
She
Really?
said she chose Codex Dragon because it didn't sound feminine and she could mix in with the dragons, which
That's true.
mostly men. She
Absolutely.
didn't
Yeah.
want them to know she's just some 14-year-old girl.
Right. No,
I
yeah.
never had any communication with her because she was a dragon before me.
Right.
Felicia Day joined like when the dragons first started. We're talking 1994, 95. And so I
Interesting.
joined in 97. By the time I joined, maybe there are some fleeting similar groups we were in,
Hmm.
but I never saw her or remember her.
There.
Uh, my
Interesting.
brother, my brother was Caspian Dragon,
Oh, I
and
like that name.
I,
Like
I knew
Prince
a bunch.
Caspian. That's cool.
I knew a bunch of the different dragons.
Ultima, huh? And then that Richard Garriott guy goes to space.
Richard Garriott. I was there as the induction
Unbelievable.
of Garriott becoming a dragon.
What?
Garriott became a dragon at
So he
the
he wasn't even the designer. He was just a player too, or both.
well. He wanted to join the dragons. The dragons are so amazing that Garriott himself wanted to become a dragon.
I
So
see. Okay.
Garriott
Oh,
became
interesting.
Splat Dragon. He had basically a whipped cream pie splatted in his face, and he became Splat Dragon.
That's pretty
And I
cool.
was there at the ceremony. Someone splatted him in the face. I was there. I
Interesting.
wish I wish I filmed it. I wish I recorded it because it was such a historic moment.
Yeah, yeah.
I was there fleetingly. See, this is me. I'm at the Disney Hilton or something to that
Oh my
effect,
God. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I'm watching Richard Gere get splat with a pie in his face, and I'm like, well, that's cool. I'm going to Disneyland now. I'm going to go on some rides.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
didn't even stick around
Oh,
that
really?
day. I just went to Disneyland because, uh, you know,
In
the
Anaheim,
event
yeah.
was like, I think it was like a 2 or 3 day event. And I spent most of
Pretty
the time
cool.
at Disneyland on rides, then,
Hey,
but I
hey.
did spend a couple hours here and a couple hours there at the event, and I watched Richard Garriott tell his stories, and he was fun. He was cool. I got a couple pictures with Richard Garriott, and
I
I
remember that.
I wanted to get his autograph, but I didn't want to bother him too much. But he signed anyone's autograph anyone asked him.
I would just be like, hey, can I have $1 million? No. There was this YouTube streamer that was like 2 degrees separated from us, right?
Mhm.
Very low. He would host. You ever hear about, like, how people, I'll debate you, I'll debate you, I'll debate you, and how debate became like a big thing. It used to be like what they called internet blood sports, right? And this guy used to host it. His name was JF Garippi, and there's another guy, Ethan Ralph, and stuff, who is a mess of a person. That's a whole nother story. But um, they, JF Garippi, apparently got 25K. Like you were talking about Mr. Beast, but this is another thing. But I'll cut it real short. Got 25K from the E guy that we were talking about before.
Mhm.
25K just for a YouTube channel that had 0 subscribers, or well, not zero at the time. It was like 1,000 something. You know what I mean? He
Mhm.
had 25K investments. So if there are any people out there that want to invest, we're talking technology. John and I, John's the scientist, engineer. We're on the peripheral of science and spirituality. There's no one like us. I'm sort of like the cool philosopher, very cool, extremely cool philosopher, athletic, musical, you name it. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. Uh, no, John's like, we gotta go. But no, for real. It's been anyway. So final words, I guess. I just want to thank you, John, for doing this,
Well, thanks
and
for having us. This podcast is still live.
it is.
I forgot to bring I got a little pea pod keychain because
Oh, I love that.
peas in a pod is
That's a great name. I
the
love. I
fake
think we
name
should.
for the podcast, so no one can
It's the
take that
second name. It's the
their second
second
name for
name,
the podcast.
and it's
Still
copyrighted.
working on the movie Necktie Lumaton, but I'm working on 10 projects at a time. And the
Yeah,
reason the movie's not finished is because I work a regular 9 to 5 job. I work
me
tomorrow,
too.
I work the next day, I work all these days.
Yeah, me
But I'm
too.
also working on something related to the Ultima Dragons, actually. Something related to Ultima.
Really
I'm
cool.
making some stuff, crafting some stuff. I'm going into mold making and I'm making some stuff. I'm going to make copies
Right.
of it. I'm going to try to sell it. We'll see. I already have sold stuff on eBay 5, 10 years ago and they sold out. But this time I want to make it out of plastic, like really professional casted, like an action figure type stuff going on.
That'd be
And
cool.
I did craft like a serpent gate from Ultima 7 Part 2.
They have some great stuff. You have a really nice collection of their like memorabilia. Yeah.
And with the technology these days, I can do a lot more. And so
Right.
I'm gonna make some stuff just for fun.
By the way, we have a 3D printer at our school, so just heads up on that. So I can use it whenever I want. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
what is expensive is the actual like
the stuff.
colors. Yeah, that's spools.
Yeah, I have a 3D pen. That's the
really?
I just have a 3D pen.
You can make a lot of stuff. Huh?
You don't put any STL files. All you do is you literally do this. You got to do it by hand, and it's pretty cool. I've made a couple things with it, but you can use AI these days to make a 3D rendering.
Really?
You can draw a picture.
That's
and then show that picture, that 2D picture. You can draw a stick man, show that stick man to AI. It can make anything 3D. And so you can make some amazing things. I'm just playing around with it. I haven't subscribed, but you subscribe to actually get the full features, you know. But I think theoretically it might be worth it. AI does have some benefits, most definitely. You can get 3D out of a 2D thing. So you've been looking at a 2D thing your whole life. You can make a 3D, bam. You can make an action figure of something you've seen your whole life that didn't exist before as an action figure. And if you don't own the rights to it, you can't sell it. But if you do own the rights to it, you know, you can sell it. I'm actually getting into these Japanese action figures.
Really?
Called Sofubi.
What are those?
Sofubi, I think, is just Japanese for a soft vinyl action figure.
Sofubi.
It's kind of a hollow figure. You know that cheap Godzilla figures that are hollow?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, back in the day, there was like, you know, a 99-cent store figure, right?
These things are kind of cool.
It's like a 99-cent store figure. Well, the genre has exploded to, it's not a 99-cent figure anymore. Now this is a collectible $500 figure. And so, I mean, I'm not going to be I'm not going to be making anything like that or selling anything like that. But I do want to make some of my own figures. And my movie, Necktie Lumaton, does feature an antique store. And in the antique store, there may or may not be figures. We shall see. I mean, the movie is pretty elaborate, pretty extreme.
Sorry, real quick. In that interview, too, Peter Lavender says that Johnny Depp's character from The Ninth Gate is based on him. Yep. So just let's keep that for next episode. Hilarious. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Mr. Lavenda is a bit of an egomaniac. That's the guy that will say, "That's not me. That's not me," and then in another interview say, "That's me."
That's a good point.
He's a very self-contradicting, walking contradiction, because I saw him in an interview say, only an idiot would practice the stuff in the Necronomicon.
Yeah, okay.
And then there's literally a tape from the 70s of him saying, here's how to practice the steps from the Necronomicon. Here's step A, B, C, D. He contradicts himself. I mean, he's busted.
Can't trust him. Can't
trust any word out of his mouth.
I agree. Anyway, all right. We'll be seeing you.
Be seeing you.
Stop on the YouTube, and thanks everybody. Be seeing you.
Bye.
Bye.
Pyramidical station, Factor 27.